Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV, episode 184, FBA Under Fire. How y'all doing? Shout out Regina, peace, love, and higher soul elevation, Duke, into the chat. Shout out to you. How y'all doing? Oh, another Saturday is here. Another week has passed. Hopefully y'all had a stress-free week as possible as always. A lot of politics going on, a lot of stories going around, some updates I'm going to give today. Hold on, y'all. Let me just set something up. Okay. Get into it now. All right. How y'all doing, man? How y'all doing? Okay, we can get right into it because there's a movie that I'm looking forward to, that I've been looking forward to for a couple months now, as everybody else, and that is Sinners. We talked about this movie a couple times, all the trailers. Well, this is the second trailer that came out. This might be one of the more anticipated films. One of my most anticipated films in a couple years now. The last probably being a few years ago with Michael B. Jordan when he did that action film. Can't remember the name of it right now, and I just kind of was let down by it. But hopefully, this one doesn't do the same. Sink your teeth into the Sinners' bloody, exhilarating new trailer. Looking forward to this movie. I want to say, looking at this trailer, because I'm not going to show it, but is it me or in modern movies, really entertainment in general, but in just in the movies and the plot, for whatever reason, in the last decade or so, has been completely given up. You get the entire movie almost in the trailers, and it's like they have to give you the plot almost to sell the movie now. Without there's no being mysterious, leaving certain things up to the imagination, speculation. They give you pretty much the plot now, and that's the only way they seem to be able to sell a movie. I don't know if that have to do with people's unwillingness to go to movie theaters, and based off of their behind-the-scenes research, they feel like the more of a plot you give, the more likely people are to watch a movie versus leaving certain things up to interpretation. I don't know. I don't like it, but I'm really looking forward to the movie. Hopefully it's good. Another thing about this film is every time someone brings this movie up, the first thing people say is, well, not everybody, I'm not going to say everyone, but a lot of the times when you see any discussions about this movie, whether it's YouTube content or post on across social media, someone in the comment section is going to bring up Jonathan Majors, how he was supposed to be in this movie, and to them at least, it doesn't seem like it was supposed to be a movie where Michael B. Jordan plays his own twin. That maybe it's supposed to be some type of Jonathan Majors add in with this, but because of his controversy, they decided not to go that route. But he also has a movie coming, the what is it called? Magazine Dreams. I saw people, the trailer came out for that. The bodybuilder film that was supposed to come out like 2 years ago, or at least it was made like 2-3 years ago, and it's finally being released in connection with Zeus. And it's like, damn. Jonathan Majors a year ago, a year and a half ago, was almost at the top of the Hollywood food chain, and now he's working with Zeus. It's a terrible fall, but hopefully the brother can pick himself up and find a way back to the top of the mountain again. But anyway, let's go ahead, move on. Oh yeah, we gotta get to this update on the craziest story going on in America for the past year or so, local story, which is Tiffany Henyard. Tiffany Henyard has been getting covered the last year or so because of the outrageous things she's been accused of and clearly guilty of in this town. And now her and her, I don't know if I want to say boyfriend or husband, are in a full-out brawl with someone. Let me show the video. Hold on.
What? Leave him alone. Tiffany is in there. Tiffany is in there. Holy shit.
Commentaries are hilarious too. So you have a mayor and town leadership who's getting in brawls with civilians in the town. Now, apparently, this dude says something slick, dude hooked off, and she, being a ride-or-die that she is, she tell you who she is, she got involved in the brawl as well to help with the fight, which obviously led to backlash on her part. A fight in a meeting in Thornton Township, the largest township in Illinois, covering 17 south suburban municipalities on Tuesday, January 28th, has turned up in the heat. Has turned up the heat on this supervisor, Tiffany Henyard, who's spending as a mayor of Dalton, Illinois, took center stage this week as the investigation reveals she just in just 9 months, the village of Dalton racked up more than $779,000 in credit card transactions. During the Thornton Township meeting, tensions toward Henyard reached a new level when activist Jediah Brown exchanged blows with Henyard's boyfriend, Kamal Woods, after Brown called Henyard a bitch. Regina said, I can't understand why all these other women got in the mix. Craziness. Yeah, that's another thing that's a bigger problem that's really grown. I remember when I was younger, as a kid, when fights would happen, it would be understood as a woman, you don't get involved. But I could say the opposite, where the main person that would break up a fight back then was a woman. Just a woman getting in between two men was supposed to bring the tensions down. You're not supposed to swing, supposed to separate immediately, or you're supposed to move her and get to it. Now women get in the fight and punch too. It is what it is. But I will say this. I understand that what she's considered to be, what she's being investigated for and the things that she's accused of. But if her significant other is standing there with her and you're criticizing her politics and what she's doing, the criminal acts allegedly she's doing, you probably should be careful not to go as far to do name calling, because on any level, as a man, when you talk to my woman a certain way, I'm just saying, when you talk to my woman a certain way, there's probably still going to be a reaction. You can criticize and be harsh and respectful. You don't need to start using certain words. So I'm not going to sit here and say completely he had no business swinging. Look, you start using certain language towards some dude's woman, things happen. Now, she getting involved is what's really crazy. Emmanuel Dark, he said, chaos goblins often escalate altercations. Yeah, that's true. Nowadays, it's definitely a bigger issue where even amongst men, I know if y'all see any women fight across social media or on the internet, any videos, it be dudes, men, egging it on for the violence amongst women to happen when that's never really should be a thing. Regina said, you catch hands, I catch hands. See if we get them to everybody. Emmanuel said that's beta male behavior. If you want to call it that, but I think if I'm standing with my girl and some man, some stranger is talking to her crazy, once again, you can criticize her politics, but when you start talking crazy in other ways, I'm not going to say every man's going to react the same way and go violent, but it's definitely going to be some watch your mouth, and then at some point it can lead to that level. There's a certain conversation that's got to happen when you use that type of language in criticizing my girl. Once again, criticize her politics as harshly as you want, but when you start doing that, it can go another level. Grown men got to learn to control their emotions. They also got to learn to control their mouths. When people say that idea of any idea of violence is because of emotions, I disagree. Because the same way we expect people to understand consequences with their actions, you have to understand consequences with your mouth. And that's another problem. Not enough people, and I'm not saying this on a higher level, I'm talking about in general. Certain people talk a certain way because they don't think they can get punched in their mouth. That's all I'm saying. Emmanuel said, now if he throws hands first, grabs, then it's one. Hey, we can agree to disagree. You can talk away and get hands put on you. It's not always just emotional. Regina says, I understand your argument. What is interesting how you can't take a girl out of the ghetto, but out of the ghetto in her entourage. Well, she told you who she was. She tell you who she is all the time. She's a product. Well, I'm not gonna say that because I don't follow that completely, the whole product of your environment thing. But you know, she is who she is. Yeah. Sorry, y'all. All right. Fighting as the town leadership is crazy though. I can't lie. That's crazy. I don't know why she got involved at all, but like you said, the chaos agents that exist, or he called it chaos goblin, you know, it is what it is. Maybe so that's a bad omen regardless. Mr. Super Mayor probably going to end up behind bars. Probably, and you saying that, I'm going to go straight into this right here. Tiffany Henyard released a statement after a fight breaks out at Thornton Township meeting. I'm just going to read what she had to say. Let me just go down. This is through her attorney, Bobby Brindley, Henyard's attorney. In the face of endless false accusations and outright lies about Mayor Henyard that are being trafficked on social media by her political enemies, it is unsurprising that violence erupted. In a social media age, unchecked falsehoods lead to misplaced tensions and aggression. This episode shows that the campaign of false information about the mayor puts her and others in danger. You know, this sounds like the same language we see all the other politicians use when they or someone close to them is attacked. They immediately say, because of the allegations and the stuff being said by opposing parties is leading to my family and me being in danger. We saw it with, in some examples that's been proven kind of true. We saw it with the politicians who had his back broken, was attacked by his neighbor. We've seen Trump use it. We've seen the Biden administration using with certain people who were threatened with violence because of what they call was Trump rhetoric. And the opposite, obviously, with Trump saying it was the reason why he was shot at. I think she has to be is when your investigations are happening and they're saying that you're flat out stealing money from the city. You're spending on lavish vacations and trips, hotels, and all type of stuff. You can't expect that everybody's going to come respectful, which goes back to what I said about the dude using the B word against her. Look, you can criticize the politics, but you have to understand for everything there's consequences. And in her, what she has to understand is when you were doing so much dirt and it starts coming to the light, certain people are going to want to, you know, do things. Especially people who've been struggling, trying to get by and feel like the town ain't doing enough to help the locals, and you living high on the hog it's going to lead to certain things. Emmanuel Dart says the former mayor of Oakland, California, is a Vietnamese American woman. Got Fed charged, and she's going to club Fed soon. If a model minority can catch a case, then Miss Super Mayor not beyond the reproach. Yeah. And what's funny is they went and got the former mayor of Chicago to do the investigation for the money situation against Henyard. And she already found evidence of certain things she was doing wrong, obviously. So it is what it is. Matter of fact, I can go right here. Tiffany Henyard, held in direct criminal contempt, must also comply with orders of protection against her. She had during a hearing on during today's hearing on the liquor license dispute, where Tiffany Henyard, a mayor of Dawson, Illinois, refused to sign liquor licenses for a local business in order by the court to sign them. The judge cleared up what was in the docket for the last week. The judge stated she will correct the docket to reflect Henyard in the direct criminal contempt as opposed to the entry stating indirect criminal contempt for her refusal to obey the orders of the court last week. Yeah. Virginia says that detail regarding the former mayor of Chicago being an investigator gave Lion King vibes. Hey, what's going on here? Yeah. Miss Super Mayor's cook, Timon to Pumbaa. Yeah, it's looking bad for her. But look, I'm going to say this. We've seen certain people just have support. And keep in mind, people are still voting for her. She's still in these elections winning and stuff. So when you got that level of support, somehow, some way, you see people weasel their way out of it. Let me show this one. So to Tiffany Henyard, we'll see what happens with her. I would think more than likely by in a couple months, by the end of the year at least, she won't be in office. She has too much national backlash, but I don't think she's going to jail, man. I do not think she's going to jail. I think you'll see her out of office at some point. She'll be forced to step down because of all the scrutiny, which she seems to be just one of those people that's completely, that just don't want to adhere to the public. She's willing to stand against it and just fight it. But I think she's going to, at some point, she's going to be forced to step down, but I don't think she's going to jail. I just don't think so. I think she'll be able to get away with something, a slap on the wrist maybe, and she'll end up being some type of speaker, not speaker as in going around the country speaking about politics and empowering and nothing, but I think she'll end up making money in a different way. She's cooked. Emmanuel said the age of the black girl magic mayors and DA is over. Hey, based off of the statistic, we should be hoping for the judges. The judges be over too. Them numbers look crazy. I'm gonna be honest. All right. Let's go ahead and get to this next story. Update on this story here. White couple accused of treating adopted black kids as slaves found guilty of forced labor, human trafficking. Let me just show the video.
Lance and Whitefeather kept motion-activated Arlo cameras on the children, one in the shed on the 14-year-old boy and 16-year-old girl, and one in a room upstairs with no bed, only a tarp floor that stayed on the 9-year-old girl and 11-year-old boy. The video showed a daily routine of waking up early and being forced to stand with hands on head, unable to change or shower, receiving only peanut butter sandwiches to eat before going back to bed on the floor. In the shed, the teens used a camper toilet, holding a sheet up for each other to shield the other from the camera. Lieutenant Pyle said she first began hearing about this in August before the shed discovery, but testified could never quite get a hold of a CPS worker to follow up.
There was a contact made with a worker once, but there was no further contact to coordinate going and making a visit to the residence together.
The jury saw days of video the Arlo cameras saved, including the moments deputies busted in the door on the shed on October 2nd.
You're okay.
The children were turned over to Child Protective Services, and when Lance and Whitefeather got back with two of the children that night, they were later arrested. But that was just the beginning of their charges and the investigation. On Friday, the jury got an inside look at Whitefeather's cell phone. This included text messages between she and Lance where they referred to the kids as monkeys and pigs. Often Lance would describe physical punishment where he said he, quote, knocked one of them. We saw one text where Lance said, quote, somebody didn't say thank you, and his sandwiches disappeared. We also saw more video from Whitefeather's phone from their time in Washington that also showed yelling and physical abuse from Lance.
Unfortunate. Emmanuel says all the white savior myth becomes a tragic tale. Wait, haven't seen this on before? Yeah. Whenever, and maybe it's just a thing in us from historic knowledge, but I've never understood the idea of adopting a child of a different background or ethnicity or race. I know we always, when people bring that up, the other argument is always, well, why are these kids in orphanages and why don't they have parents? And we're not talking about the kids who parents unfortunately passed away or were harmed in some way, but I always find that to be a red flag when people want to adopt kids of another race. I say the same thing when I see a black person adopting kids as another race. Like, what are you doing? You got all these black kids out here without parents and you want to adopt. Like, it is what it is. People have the reason they do things. But this story here, they got sentenced, were found guilty, obviously. A West Virginia jury has convicted a couple who were accused of neglect and forced labor involving their adopted children, including locking some of them in a shed and forcing them to sleep on the floor and use buckets as toilets. Jenny K. Whitefeather was convicted of all 19 counts against her, including forced labor, civil rights violations, human trafficking, and child neglect. Her husband, Donald Ray Lance, was found guilty on 12 counts out of the 16 and was acquitted of 4 counts of civil rights violations. The jury deliberated for 8 hours before reaching a verdict on Wednesday, the couple's trial that began mid-January. Whitefeather and Lance, who are white and were accused of mistreating their children, all of whom are black, they adopted their 5 siblings while living in Minnesota, moved to a farm in Washington and stayed in 2018, and then brought the family to West Virginia in May of 2023, with a child's range in age from 15 to 16. I remember we first talked about this story, and we talked about the 16-year-old. And then, it leads to an uncomfortable conversation where we start asking, the question is, how old is 15, 16, where at some point we understand that, you know, you feel you were adopted by these people, and there's a certain level of Stockholm syndrome and just attachment to somebody who adopted you. They feed you, you know, they house you, quote unquote. So you just feel like there's nowhere else to go, especially when you're that young. You don't know where you are, yada yada. But yeah, we talked about that. And was there anything else they could have done? Emmanuel says that they need to put them under the prison. If I'm not mistaken, got pretty much life. The couple was arrested, yada yada yada. Let's just get through. I want to get to the years. They went into all the stuff they went to. The white feather called the shed a teenager hangout and said the older children had access to a key and were free to leave as they pleased. But testimony showed that the children didn't know where the key was. Detectives found one on the site on top of a cabinet in the shed. Prosecutors and the couple's tactics were less about teaching responsibility and instead about control. Yeah, they treated them like pets, basically. I think they got a couple 100 years, basically life. They ain't getting out. They're older anyway, so. What up, Brilliant? Peace, I'm back in this bitch. You know them folks wicked from the knot. Yeah, we're going on that. White feather is so he's a $5 Indian, aka pretendian. No, that's the woman. So she would be the $5 Indian. Yeah, this is the white feather, and this is Lance. That's his name. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, she would be the $5 Indian. So yeah, a lot of that going on too. Sorry. All right, let's get to the next one. All right, Trump moved to end birthright citizenship is an attempt to undo the civil war. This story is constantly growing because this is leading to a lot of uprooting in America. There's just tens of thousands of videos across social media of these people being deported, complaining about family members being deported, although some of this is probably not true. Some of these videos posted are old and not recent. But a lot of stuff, he's shaking shit up. Trump came in, shook it up immediately, did a lot of the stuff he said he was going to do on the campaign trail. It is what it is. So they went through the historical context of this quote here, because this led to a lot of talk that Trump made during his questioning.
5 votes on a Supreme Court.
What position?
Birthright citizenship.
I think so, yeah. Look, birthright citizenship was, if you look back when this was passed and made, that was meant for the children of slaves. This was not meant for the whole world to come in and pile into the United States. That was meant for the children of slaves. This was not meant for the whole world to come in and pile into the United States of America. Everybody coming in and totally unqualified people with perhaps unqualified children. This wasn't meant for that. This was meant, when it was originally done, for the children of slaves.
You know, it's funny how often in the last couple of years we've heard that same sentence for a bunch of different things. You talk about civil rights, talking about 14th Amendment, all these things. The first thing they said, this was originally for Black Americans, pretty much. So this led to a lot of people coming out trying to disagree with it, saying that I saw the Native Americans said that Trump is trying to force them to not be citizens through kicking them, pretty much not saying that the 14th Amendment had nothing to do with Native Americans as well, because obviously Native Americans have their own, they're sovereign nations, they're tribes. So I'm gonna get to that later because a woman made some comments on that. I'm gonna make some comments on that too. But obviously he said nothing wrong here, but they're gonna try to make him the bad guy and try to say he's trying to cause division and stuff. Virginia said that was meant for the children of slaves. Which slaves? Melanin slaves, slaves from Europe. Now that's a good point, Regina. We do got to start asking for them to be very specific when they say certain things, because you got the Irish still running around saying that they were slaves during their time. You got the Asians saying that they was in servitude. So yeah, he needs to be more specific when he say that. He said, Emmanuel said, Trump is 100% correct. The 14th Amendment was only meant for the formerly enslaved Negroes and their direct descendants, i.e. non-immigrant Black Americans, aka FBA. Only $5 Indians. Trump is 100% right. Now this right here, I'm showing this because with Trump making DEI the new critical race theory, which was the new affirmative action, people were making the argument that because he's going for a lot of DEI things, even though he did roll back the Tuskegee Airmen thing when the Air Force, or the military, I'm sorry, when they took down all the Tuskegee Airmen stuff. Trump said, no, they are American history, and they put that stuff back up because that's American history. So he's clearly not going for, to me at least, he hasn't went for black people. So because of social media and news propaganda, they've tied DEI directly now to black people. So now when someone says, get rid of these DEI hires, everybody will say black people. Well, no, that was for diversity of everybody. So in particular, the main people who benefited from it, just like affirmative action and all the other stuff, is white women and LGBTQ people. But they keep tying it to black people so they can attack Trump and call him a racist, obviously. 14th Amendment had nothing to do with Native Americans. A separate law was passed in 1924 that made tribal nations citizens. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Then it says, I was shocked to learn that DEI goes back to the 60s and even earlier. Yeah. Trump is blaming everything on DEI, and white ain't never been MEI, merit, excellence, intelligence, nepotism, and cronyism. Anyone? Exactly. He said, which is hilarious. Less than 4% of DEI jobs went to black Americans. Exactly. So, but he posted this, when the White House posted this on their official website, of Trump declaring he recognizes Black History Month, which is crazy because he's attacking the DEI thing so much and they're attaching that to black people. They also think that the reason why he may be wanting to release the MLK files is so that they can kind of put muddy him up a lot more in the public, so they can make an excuse to get rid of Martin Luther King Day and yada, yada, yada. And then they think they're going to get rid of Juneteenth. I wouldn't mind that because nothing good has come from that, honestly. Some things should be kept to the culture. But Trump had to come out and acknowledge and recognize Black History Month, which is just funny to me. But anyway, Braden says, them DEI narratives are just word salad for sympathy hire. Yeah, that too, which goes back to what Virginia said. That's nepotism. A lot of the time, that's a bigger sympathy hire. People getting jobs just because they know somebody, rather than you get a job because we need to fill a quota. Which one happens more often? We see that in college institutions, at the Ivy League schools. It ain't the people getting in because of their race or their, I gotta say, their gender or whatever. It's normally because of their family members. But anyway, let me show some of the reactions to Trump's 14th Amendment comments. This is Roland Martin.
And his minions, this is all tied together, a couple days ago, in their attack on migrants, they've been touting the 14th Amendment. And Trump goes out and he says that, that 14th Amendment, that was meant. That was meant only for formerly enslaved people of African descent. And that was music to the ears of the foundational Black Americans, the FBA.
Another thing I want to say is I feel bad because no one even uses the term ADOS anymore. Remember that? ADOS came, then FBA came, and then people were kind of like, hey, I don't care what side y'all on. I'm not into that little feud. They was named themselves ADOS/FBA. But the attack now politically, not even politically, I'll say amongst the Black political pundits or commentators, their attack typically is only towards the FBA name now. I guess you could say it's because Tariq has been a lot more vocal against Black, or immigrants, should I say. He's been a lot more vocal about his feelings towards them, I guess. So it's just funny to me. Manuel says all the other groups except FBA do nepotism, at least systemically. Facts. All right, let me. Regina says Roly-Poly Martin and his kind are still present, must get untold facts checks to keep pushing these narratives. Manuel says Yvette Carnell's still around, but FBAs have gotten more prominence than ADOS. Yeah, quickly. How fast it happened. I mean, I feel like ADOS was growing amongst the, I don't want to use the word mainstream, but legacy media were addressing ADOS. They were taking more serious from the standpoint of politics. FBA went the route of focus on building, I don't want to say groundwork, but they just kind of focused on, we're going to stick to the lineage. We're going to stick to the lineage. So people who don't agree with it, or who are in politics, feel the need to denounce it and talk against it, which has led to it growing and growing and growing. And I guess you could say, obviously, Tariq obviously is more famous or more prominent than Yvette or Tone. So what he says is going to be popular, more popular or bigger anyway. Brayton says, thought the straight said fry. Oh, fat checks. Okay, I'm sorry. Mary says, FBAs are more closer to the common black people, i.e. working class and streets. Yeah, I think Yvette tried to go for the more intellectual, more, I don't want to say certain things, but she's definitely more of a certain ilk that have coalesced around her. More data searching and stuff like that, while Tariq just talking shit. It is what it is.
It was only for us. No law is only for one group of people. So he's using, some of y'all need to understand. Y'all got to recognize what Bill Duke said in that movie, High Flying Bird. They invented a game on top of the game.
Y'all see that little head waggle? What's up, little head waggle right there?
A game on top of the game.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm slow. Hold on.
Trump and his minions, this is all tied together, a couple days ago, in their attack on migrants, they've been touting the 14th Amendment. We only want to see laws for us. We only want to see bills for us. And that is at the roots of what's going on with this discussion about the 14th Amendment. Joining us right now, my guest is Carla McAnders, Director of the Legal Defense Fund's Thurgood Marshall Institute. Carla, I'm adding you to this because all of this ties together, Carla. It is meant to drive wedges between Black, Latino, Asian, Native American.
This is another thing. Why is it you see these people right here that are so pro-Black and want to uplift Black feel the need to constantly be afraid of Spanish, Asian, or any other group, Native American, deciding to separate from them? You constantly feel the need to be associated with these people, and they tell you all the time, we don't care what happens to you. We worried about us. And when they need something and it benefits them, then they'll stand with you. But if it's just for you, they don't care. We've been seeing what the Mexicans and Spanish been saying the last week or so. So it's just it's sad to me that these people in 2025 are still trying to push this black and brown or this rainbow coalition that should have died in the 70s.
Rights lawsuits, Harvard and affirmative action programs, meant to drive the wedge. And there are Black people who are falling for the okie doke, who are playing right into it, who think that, oh no, these are things that are just for us, when it's been established by the Supreme Court that the 14th Amendment does not only apply to the descendants of formerly enslaved people of African descent. Folk need to realize the game that is being played. This is a master race strategy that is being employed as we speak, and is unfolding every single day.
Another thing that's sad, because you're preaching inferiority. You're basically saying that's why I don't like the term non-white, because when you say white and non-white, you're saying it's white people and then there's everybody else. You're saying that Black people need to team up with the rest of the world against these people, that they're unable to stand on their own. This is why I be saying that these are people that kind of preach incompetence to Black people, that they can't do it on their own. They shouldn't be expected to do it on their own. That's what they call what they call it, left-wing racism, where they expect low of you. They don't expect greatness.
Definitely. Thank you for having me today. I think you're hitting on the core issue here, is that citizenship has always been narrowly construed to only include a certain group, and it's been very exclusionary. So if you go back to 1790 with the Naturalization Act, it was limited to free white males. Then you had, Dred Scott arguing that, a formerly enslaved person who's in the North, that he should be given citizenship rights. You had the Supreme Court responding in Dred Scott saying that, just as Taney said, that the Black man has no rights to which the white man is bound to respect. And so the 14th Amendment came along and it provided citizenship, membership, and belonging to all persons born or naturalized.
Hold on.
And again, I'm trying to keep people to understand.
Virginia said, facts do constantly feeling victimized by people who don't give a fuck about you, not even their on their radar. Emmanuel said, yeah, them other non-black groups got their long overdue wake-up call with the mass deportations, and FBA's looking like, oh, well, not our problem. How you say, hold your own nuts. But he says, coincidentally, they never say Africa. They say New Global South. The fuck? That's the new place they're trying to take over. So, yeah, you start changing names and using soft skills.
Master race language. When they are attacking illegal immigration, attacking migrants, what they're saying is, we need all of these dark people out. When he calls African nations shithole countries, when he lies.
Bro, I ain't gotta go to. We already know their population is shrinking because their women ain't having kids and the men ain't got no racial and national pride. They get rid of affirmative action, all this stuff to convince the white woman to lose certain social mobility, economic mobility in this country, to force her to pair up with one of their white males so they can have some more kids. They don't want to bring in all these Hispanics and all these other people to do the job because the population is going to change in the next 20, 30 years. That's all it is. That's what happens with every fallen empire. You talk about Rome, you talk about the Greeks, you talk about the Ottomans. At the end of the empire, Egyptians. At the end of the empire, the people who are in control are normally not the people who were in power in the beginning. They don't want that to happen in America. They want white men to be in power, but they have to get the white woman back in order. That's all that's happening. Every country is importing a bunch of workers, except people like China. China don't do that. But China has a giant population, obviously. But yeah, and they've been around for way longer than America. These places fall. That's what happens. Sorry. Emmanuel says, but the white males prefer Asian women if they don't get one, if they can get one, because they call them submissive. That's another thing I want to point out. Y'all ever notice that when you look at these foreign countries and their cultures, particularly you talk about the Arab countries or the Muslim countries, should I say, even African countries that are Muslim or some type of spirituality or religion they follow, they'll speak against America when it comes to the colonialism and bringing the wars they cause and the pillaging of their resources, but they'll defend how they treat certain issues socially. So because America is attempted to be so pro-LGBT, pro-woman, you have women of other races or cultures that will accept all the other BS that happens in the West just because they're okay with that one issue. Like I can never forget when I saw the Muslim woman in the UK talking crazy about her country, Afghanistan, while sitting in Britain, the number one colonizers still. And she was talking crazy about her country just because of how they made them wear certain clothing and stuff and their religion. And the white woman is dressed in the Muslim garb, defending her culture while she's talking crazy about it. You know, drinking that wine of the world, I guess. Reagan says, at the same time, feminize black men and make black women masculine. Yeah. I don't want to get into the whole you have to bring the femininity out of a woman. I don't think that should be a thing, but I understand. Ooh. All right. So Roland them and his ilk are pissed off that Trump said it because he said it's causing a divide and stopping what he wants to be a rainbow coalition. What a mystery man. Hold on. Trump officials make plans to revoke legal status of migrants welcome under Biden. So won't that be the Ukrainians? It was Afghanistan, the Afghanis, the Afghans, should I say? Won't that be the people he's mainly going to be targeting, since they came during the pullout from Afghanistan and the war in Ukraine. The Trump administration is preparing to revoke the legal status of many of the migrants who were allowed to come to the U.S. legally from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela under former President Joe Biden. Oh, no. So, of course, the global South, as they call it, is the places they want to deport people back to. Manuel said so far it's Venezuelans and Colombians. Yeah, I was saying that I was being sarcastic. Of course, he's not talking about the Europeans getting deported again. He was talking about the others. Mr. said, y'all talking about the fat black chick that's suing Lyft because she's fine. I wasn't going to talk about it because it's just foolish. But hey, let me say this. Is that not discrimination? You could say, well, my vehicle can't hold you. You're 500 pounds. But at the same time, in America at least, which is the country of lawsuits at this point, it's so many lawsuits, technically, he discriminated against her because of her weight. Isn't that called, what's that called? Fat phobic? Hey, all I'm going to say on that is, don't be surprised if she wins. He said you have to call Lyft XL. Well, maybe that might be the only way he get out of it. But I'm going to say, I do not be surprised if she wins something. You know her ass needed a I seen old buddy do a skit where he said that you call Lyft, you need forklift. But yeah, it is what it is. Lawsuits happen. Forklift. And she's a rapper. So this is great for her either way. Whether she win this case or not, she's got attention on her. There's another fat dude who's a rapper who's really, really big. So she might do a remix with him on some song. So either way out of this, she's going to make some money. I'm going to lose this case or win it. And then I'm going to make a song at some point and I'm going to put it out and not look at you. You're going to give me my attention anyway. Which is sad that we're in that era where just anybody can just do anything and it'll be a profit for them. And maybe says if there's only one who needed Ozempic. Hey, Ozempic doing a lot of work now. What up, Kiefer? Ozempic is going to turn into something else. I showed it a few weeks ago that Ozempic is leading to some women having enlarged breasts. I'm bringing it up to say the same way they did it with other drugs, Ozempic, when they did it with Ozempic, it's obviously a diabetes medicine, it was used for people who are diabetic. Now it's used for weight loss. At some point, it's going to be used to do cosmetics for breast surgery or without having to go under the knife. Emmanuel says, longest people survive side effects. Abraham Virginia says, aside from the ridiculous her story is, the dude should have kept the statement about his tires out of it. And she got bars for real. He said, a PSI on my tires, that's why you can't get... Yeah, I saw him. I think he responded to her on social media. Somebody was making a joke about it. It was crazy. He said she got bars too. We'll see, because she definitely going to put some music out if she's smart. But anyway, let's get back to this. The Trump administration is preparing to revoke the legal status of many of the migrants who were allowed to come here in the U.S. legally from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, under former President Joe Biden. The proposal by the Department of Homeland Security spelled out in an unpublished notice would fully terminate a Biden administration program that allowed more than 530,000 Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans to fly to the U.S. if America's sponsors agreed to help them financially. The Biden administration argued policy known as CHNV discouraged illegal immigration by people from these 4 Latin American countries by offering them legal means to come to the U.S. President Trump froze the initiative hours after being inaugurated. Trump officials have specifically argued the program is a misuse of immigration parole, the legal authority which the Biden administration used to admit those under the sponsorship initiative and to allow them to apply for work permits. PSI is a serious... Motherfucker said, my tires, that's why you can't... Oh, Lord. All right. Let's move on to kicking somebody else back in now. Let me show this. NAACP. The NAACP. Oh, so there's been a lot of backlash with the DEI thing, and a whole bunch of stores decided to get rid of it. I think Walmart, Amazon, a few places got rid of the whole DEI initiative. We talked about this weeks ago. Before it even happened, we knew it was going to happen. They started really rolling this back late last year, around August, October. They had been started rolling this back before Trump even got voted in. But now since he's in, they're going completely all the way. The NAACP has been in conversation with Target over its diversity plans and initiatives. Our commitment remains clear. Black communities and all marginalized communities must be seen, valued, and respected. We will continue to hold corporations accountable. You know, it's funny because when you go to the Hispanic caucus, there's a Haitian caucus, there's a Jamaican caucus, Nigerian caucus. There's caucuses for all these subgroups, and I'm calling them subgroups in America because when you say Black in America, you're talking about Black Americans. I'm sorry. But they have a subgroup, they have caucuses for all these subgroups, but the NAACP feels the need to speak for everyone. But then again, it wasn't made by you, so it can't be for you. But so they get Target. I know y'all saw the the backlash that what's the woman name? I'm sorry. She was a content creator. Now she's in like movies and stuff. I think she's an author. She got spices and stuff. I can't remember her name. Tabitha Brown. That's her name. Tabitha Brown got a lot of backlash because she made comments saying, "Hey, if you boycott Target, there's a lot of Black creators in there. If you don't boycott Black people." Basically, what she was trying to say to me, in my opinion, she was saying, hey, if you want to boycott Target, do it, but just go there and buy from the Black people. But she can't say that publicly. If you say, hey, don't buy from nobody else but Black people in Target, that would look crazy because she got business with them. But it sounds like she was saying, hey, if you boycott Target, you're going to be boycotting Black people. But she was saying in a roundabout way to me, this might not be what she intended to say at all, but she was also kind of implying, hey, you can go to Target and buy this to support Black people and not buy the other stuff and let the other products fall in numbers and stuff, but just support the Black stuff. But, you know, she got a lot of backlash for it. And she was like, do what you want to do. If you don't want to support me, that's fine. If you don't want to support, you know, buying from Target, that's fine. But she was given a real reason because it's not going to work. I keep seeing people bring up the boys boycott with Martin Luther King and all them. Listen, you can only boycott something when you're the main person that's you're the main patrons of a company. Target's biggest demographic is not Black people. Now, would it hurt if Black people stopped going there? Yeah, it would be a little drop in revenue. Yeah, but y'all ain't the main source. So you boycotting them don't hurt that. It's like y'all trying to boycott Gucci a few years ago. Balenciaga. They don't expect you to be the main ones purchasing from them. You're not that big enough of a demographic in this country. So it doesn't work, really. You're not helping anyone. You're just hurting Black people who have stuff in Target. Like Emmanuel says, DEI is die, ain't no coming back. Has died, ain't no coming back. People says she's not wrong. Virginia says, considering so-called Black folks are at the bottom of DEI initiatives, she wasn't wrong, and she was also looking out for her bottom line. Exactly. And I respect it. Emmanuel says, people are capping, the same ones claiming to boycott Target. They're the same. They never really stand by it. Not in modern day. They're never going to stand by it. Hell, imagine if Amazon did something that pissed people off. Do you think a bunch of Black people are going to stop using Amazon? No, it's too much convenience. Hell, even Target says it's too convenient. It's too much of an inconvenience for them to boycott anything nowadays. Which is why I was saying a little while ago that Black people really ain't stood on something in decades, really. It's been decades, maybe. As close as you can come to is the George Floyd situation, and even that wasn't really Black people. The main people out there protesting was white women. Virginia says so-called Black folks will have to stop being a consumer of everything. Then shit will change. Otherwise, shop as you feel. Facts. But the NAACP, I want to show this clip here of what this dude had to say about the NAACP and why the NAACP and most of the people that's placed in front of us as leaders, he believes, at least, this is the white dude saying this, he believes it doesn't benefit Black Americans for a particular reason.
I've got something.
Virginia says, facts, Duke, Amazon will contact me and ask a little about him. Y'all all right? Straight to the dough, right?
Called the Legislative Black Caucus in Washington, D.C. That would not meet this issue of immigration head on. So we keep diverting from the real problem in the name of satisfying those who are part of creating the problem. What should be our message to the Congressional Black Caucus?
Well, I think one of the problems and why the Congressional Black Caucus has ignored this harm to African American communities in the same way that all the other racial groups in Congress have ignored them is that I haven't looked recently, but something approaching half or maybe more than half of the Congressional Black Caucus represent districts that are heavily Hispanic and other immigrant, and so their feeling is that they're not there primarily to represent the interests of African Americans, but to represent the interests of this wider group. And so there's a lot of and the typical African American member of Congress represents a higher percentage of immigrants than say the white representatives do. So there's
because they're pushing them into the black area. So the places that these black people are able to win office, the demographics not even there. It's not even the same demographics that it was 20, 30 years ago. So now you got black people, quote unquote, in office because of Hispanics and other immigrants voted for them, along with the black people, obviously. And as Emmanuel said, at least half the Congressional Black Caucus are tethers. That tether word is sticking, ain't it? Damn. I'm gonna make some comments later where I don't use that, but now for certain people, it's definitely gonna have to be applicable.
You could say it's a little sense of divided loyalty, but I think the message that has to go to them is: are you going to hurt the immigrants who are already here for the sake of bringing in more immigrants, or are you going to bring in fewer immigrants, help the immigrants who are already here, and stop hurting the African Americans who have roots in this country? What are we talking about now? 15 to 18 generations that most African Americans have roots in this country?
More than the average white person.
And a country that says it wants to square off some of the problems that happened from slavery and Jim Crow and all of those things, and yet we have a federal government. So I think the message has to be to the Congressional Black Caucus. It really is primarily: look, you're not helping the immigrants who are already here by bringing in more immigrants. And why don't you help all of us and pay attention to what mass immigration has always done to the African American community?
Sad. People can always look in and see your problem, and people in it just ignore it. All right, now I want to get to this. This Native American, and I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful. I don't know if this is a man or a woman. I'm being honest. I know that amongst the Native Americans, they do have what they call a third gender. I forgot what they call them. There's a term for that. I don't know, so I'm just leave it alone. But I'm gonna show this video, and y'all tell me what y'all think about this person. The facts, you have to step away from it in order to truly see it. So let me just show this person and their comments about Trump's 14th Amendment.
Breaking news.
Emmanuel says, at this point, U.S. slavery descendants, i.e. non-immigrant Black Americans, need to resettle back into the South as a political strategy. Been seeing people call for that for the last 2-3 years. Man, I'm lying. Maybe the last 6 years, people been saying that. And the problem is, because I don't live in, I see you keep them. The problem is, I don't live in, because Atlanta, let's be honest. When you talk about Black culture right now, because the center of Black culture is music and entertainment, whether we think that's okay or not. And the center of that is Atlanta. So when you talk about moving down south, most people are going to North Carolina. Shout out. North Carolina, Georgia, Texas. Few going to Florida. But I'm starting to see sprinkles in Alabama, Tennessee and stuff. I didn't know what the demographics of Atlanta was until a few months ago when people started pointing out there's a bunch of East Africans, there's a bunch of Nigerians, there's a lot more ethnic groups that live in Atlanta now because they're moving down south with the Black Americans. I talked to my aunt and uncles, and in North Carolina where I grew up, it was black. It was black, some sprinkle of white, and a few Mexicans. It's Asians now. It's Africans. It is. I've never in my life in North Carolina, where the city that I live in, the town I grew up in, I never seen Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, none of the Caribbeans. I never seen it. They now are there. So a lot of those people are now no longer going to New York, California. They're now going to places in the South. So I don't know if the whole move down south thing is going to benefit. Keeper says, dude looks like a lady. I don't know if it's a lady that looks like a dude or a dude that looks like a lady. I don't know. When you hear the voice, you have to switch that around, Keeper. Emmanuel says, nah, I'm good on Atlanta. $5, he, she, perhaps. Atlanta is terrified. Emmanuel says, see, Tether claim they to haters, but followers all over the country. Yeah, that's what I was talking to Travis. He was saying that. He was like, look, they following you. I never knew that there was a whole immigrant community in Alabama. Like, Alabama. Whenever somebody who don't live in Alabama talk about Alabama, it's always negative. Nobody ever says, I want to move to Alabama. Alabama. But I didn't even know they was there. So you're not getting away from it at this point. All right, let me play this video here. Let me play it.
The Trump administration questions Native Americans' birthright citizenship in court. The Trump administration argued in court to limit birthright citizenship for certain groups of people here in the United States. Part of the
Sorry to pause again. Kind of reminds me of a Tulsi Gabbard, by the way.
Argument involved questioning whether Native Americans, who are citizens of their own tribal nations, qualified for U.S. citizenship under the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment, which was ratified in 1868, states that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are United States citizens. This basically means that anyone born on U.S. soil automatically is a United States citizen. However, the Trump administration is focused on one phrase of the 14th Amendment, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And they argue that not everyone born in the United States qualifies as subjects to the jurisdiction of the United States.
Well, yeah, you live on sovereign land on your reservations. So technically, you're not a citizen of the United States. I mean, these reservations have their own laws. They do what they want to do. I watched that show, what's that show? Yellowstone. And that's kind of what they talk about. On the reservation, there's no authority. They control all that. It's theirs. So you expect to get the benefits of being a reservation, a sovereign nation to your own tribe, but also be a United States citizen to benefit from that. Oh, quick note. I saw somebody point out who lives in New York. He's a podcaster. He said that he was in a Jewish area at a grocery store. And he said that these tiny hats, he didn't use the word tiny hats. He said these tiny hats be having tens of thousands of dollars in SNAP benefits, food stamps. And I've been seeing videos the past week of these people on social media who were scared that Trump was ending the benefits of food stamps, of snaps for people. He said these tiny hats got tens of thousands of dollars in food stamps and SNAP. This is what? So they eating. This is crazy. Anyway, sorry.
The Justice Department cited the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which was ratified 2 years prior to the 14th Amendment, and is one of the earliest laws that defines citizenship. What's interesting about this is that it excludes two groups of people from citizenship. The first is subject to a foreign power and Indians not taxed.
And there you go. Emmanuel says, a Native American shim. I done seen it all. Keeper said, it's a man. Look at the neck. It's always the neck, ain't it? Brady says, we can't unsee some shit, right? My bad, brilliant. You mentioned Transformers more than meets the eye. Dun, dun, dun. Virginia says some Native Americans believed in the two-spirit person. Yeah, that's what it wasn't a third gender. It was two-spirit. I'm sorry. That's what it was called. I'm also ascribed minimally to all the humans have masculine and feminine aspects at their core essence, not based upon sexuality neither. Keeper said, I think the person is overreacting. This person is overreacting. Mention Transformers more than meets the yeah, Keeper, I think I don't think Trump is trying to make Native Americans discounted as being citizens because of the 14th Amendment. But I think because most of the time when you bring up any form of reparations towards any demographic, the first thing the right-wingers or even some of the left-wingers will say is, well, we got to give to the Native Americans first. That's their way of slipping out on Black Americans. They'll say, well, the Native Americans got to get it first. So I don't think the right-wingers feel like they have to discount them as citizens. They actually feel like they owe them some level of a debt. Some of them say, hey, you lost a war, get over it. You lost. Sorry. Emmanuel says, that's facts. The small hats get caked off the benefits. It's an open secret. I'm sorry. It's an open secret in NYC. We still ain't talked about them open secret, them open tunnels that existed, or closed tunnels now, they say. Them tunnels just went away. Virginia says, facts regarding the snap bomb bennies, and this includes their own police force, different from what the rest of us interact with, allegedly. Yeah, I've heard plenty of stories of dudes from New York saying, you know, they end up in the Heights, Crown Heights, I think it is, and you there too late, 11:30, 2 in the morning, you walk around, they'll walk right up to you and say, what are you doing here? And I don't care, I don't mind that. Police your neighborhood, police your area. But they'll tell you, what are you doing around here? Who do you know? What are you doing here? What are we doing? Leave, or are you going somewhere? Where you going? They still have haven't eradicated the 3/4 of a man portion of the Constitution. Yeah, technically it's still on the Constitution. Keeper said, yes, that's as far as the reparations go. Virginia says, having your own policing is probably why the Toner story went quiet. Quick, too. Quick.
All right. Historically, the United States government treated all Native Americans as belonging to separate nations and not to the United States. And that all changed in 1924 with the passage of the Indian Citizenship Act, which granted all Native Americans in the United States citizenship. The Trump administration is arguing that the 14th Amendment should still exclude Native Americans because we are still subjects to a foreign power, which is our tribal nations, and they are citing a Supreme Court case that was decided in 1884 that stated that Native Americans are not U.S. citizens unless they denounce their allegiance to their tribes.
Pause. Do y'all agree with that? Because technically, you could look at these tribal nations and their own land, their own laws. They could be treated somewhat like a Puerto Rico, like a colony. Like you're your own country, you have your own laws and government, but you're under our quote unquote rule, I guess you could say. So technically, you can't be a citizen of, I guess you're a dual citizen, but then it leads into the idea of, well, if you could be a dual citizen on the same land, is that possible? Can you be a dual citizen on the same land? Because you could be American and whatever tribe there is on the same land, the same property. What taxes do you go by? Do you pay property taxes on you to them or to here? I mean, how do you separate that? Virginia says, my mother and my grandmother, Oklahomians, are dark-skinned versions of his phenotype. I keep saying, yes. Emmanuel said, yep. That case he mentioned is Wilkins versus Elk. But they got a law in 1924 that made them citizens. So what is the transformer talking about? Well, he's saying that should exclude it because there's a case that predates that says they're not citizens. So he's trying to argue that they're going to try to expunge the 1924 one or get rid of that and say they don't count because there's a one from 1884 that's saying they're not citizens because they are citizens or sovereign to their tribes. So, yeah.
This is very controversial because the United States government and tribal nations have a long-standing agreement stating that Native Americans can have dual citizenship.
Okay, there we go. He said it, or they said it. I'm sorry.
Government and with our tribes. And the arguments that the Trump administration is trying to make will undermine all of this and throw away hundreds of years of treaties and negotiations.
Well, they kind of been doing that. All the complaints out here from Native Americans is how they constantly break the treaty. So why are you still trusting them to live up to anything they've said, honestly?
That allow us to have our tribal sovereignty today. In addition to that, the 1884 Supreme Court case that decided that Native Americans are not U.S. citizens unless they renounce their tribal allegiance was basically deemed useless after the passage of the Indian Citizenship Act of 1924.
So that's going to, he's trying to make the argument that's going to be a battle between the 1924 and the 1884 situation, the law passed and the 1884 case that happened. So I agree. I don't think nothing's going to happen from this. He said Trump is not getting rid of the 1924 law that makes Native American citizens. He better put that peace pipe or meth pipe down. Or put the bottle down either. Brayton said the U.S. has never honored any treaty like ever. He said I'm confused why they still are flabbergasted or shocked, aghast that the idea that they just not trustworthy, bro. Get what you can and move on. That's why they gave you the casinos. You're supposed to be milking this country dry with the casinos and getting your money and building your stuff up. That's why I was so confused by that TV show Yellowstone. Yes, I know it was written by a Caucasian man, so they're going to paint them a certain way, but he ran a casino, but and the people are living in abject poverty on the reservations, and he's not taking the money. He's talking millions of dollars to buy more land and build more casinos instead of taking the millions and putting it into the reservation. It was just confusing me. I don't get it. Virginia says, these complicated arguments really hone in the importance of finding out who you are, who, and what laws protect you, your tribe, lineage, a lot of mixing of chaos. Speaking of mixing, I'm glad you said that. Let me show something I bumped into. Let me show something. Speaking of mixing, let me show this. I run into this right here. Let me know what y'all think about this. What up, Brian? Trump said in the 90s that the Indians we see today aren't real Indians. Yeah, I showed that video last year when Trump said they don't look like Indians to me. He was saying how the Indians that he saw in what he saw in his records, he was trying to, because these Native Americans, he was in a dispute with them, and he was saying that these ain't real Indians, basically. These ain't the real Indians. The dark ones are the real Indians. Emmanuel says some people want to be outraged just to get attention. And Brady says if you watch Ozarks, you'd understand casino and hotel money laundering. Yeah, cartels and all the other stuff. But yeah, look at this. When some of these descriptions can't be right, because I could have sworn I've read before that the term mulatto was for a Native American black mixed person, not white and black. I don't remember it being black and white being mulatto. But you see here, you got mulatto. I think there's griff, I guess how you say it. That's a mulatto and Native American. This is the same racial categories, so some of these are similar to the racial categories they have in like Brazil, where they got like 11 categories for people. Mercy mentioned DEI Indian. He was an attention-seeking Indian. Quadroon, 1/4 black and 3/4 white. Yellow, almost white. Octoroon, 1/4 8 and the rest is white. Sambo, mulatto and black. Mestiz, white and quadroon or octoroon. Creole, French or Spanish born in Louisiana. So Creole wasn't even considered, at least in this definition, wasn't even considered black at all. It was just a French or a Spanish born person in Louisiana. So that was just funny to me that you see these mixes they have now and none of those are used anymore. Now let's move on. Very interesting. Yeah, this is where we got to kick some more backs in now. Let me show this. Now, what I'm about to show is a video. If I'm not mistaken, I didn't get to find out everything about these people, but if I'm not mistaken, these are conservative people. These are conservative, quote unquote, black people. And they made some comments about the FBA or delineating amongst black Americans and the rest of the people. So I'm gonna show this video of their comments where they were very disrespectful in their language, and I'm gonna give an explanation as to why I've come to the conclusion why they do this. Let me show you.
So first, let's talk about what foundational Black Americans are. So the term refers to a concept coined by activist and filmmaker Tariq Nasheed. It's used to describe Black individuals in the United States who are descendants of African people enslaved in the U.S. prior to the abolition of slavery in 1865. Here we go. I want to start off with you, Shelley.
My never to be humble opinion is that this movement is a way to further segregate and divide Black people, give me a second, and have these FBAs use this one as a good separation technique or a good segregation technique. Now, let me say this. I don't give a damn who you associate with, who you want to be called, or what group. I don't really care. But I think this particular issue is a way for, I'm going to say, maybe more conservatives to use as, oh, I'm
Use. I know where you from.
separating myself because I am a
Wait, she got guns as earrings?
a slave or have ancestors that were slaves or whatever. I don't care. Ultimately, I am a foundational Black American. I was born here.
Now, I'm gonna play this next one too, and I'm gonna get to my main point. I'm gonna get to this. Brink says, as soon as I hear FBI, I mentally check out oversaturated term. It's getting to the point where, yeah. Emmanuel says, y'all, she's a loud, ignorant tether. Deport her behind. Q says, oh, this podcast. Q says, I tried to watch this podcast last year. They are so pro tiny hat, it's nauseating. What? A bunch of Black people who are constantly talking about, they pro Israel versus the Palestinians. Well, if I'm not mistaken, they're right wing, which don't really mean that, because not everybody who leans more conservative, it doesn't mean that they support that, but I guess they're trying to get to a certain bag. Mr. says, it's not a movement, it's a lineage. Keeps it unwatchable. Emmanuel says, I see them tethers be on that ish. Oh, yes, extremely. Oh, wow. I'm not surprised. Most of the people that get into politics who are Black and go more conservative, I can't say just that, because even the left wingers be signing the olds or the olds. They be signing the constantly preaching their support for Israel too. So even the most left wing of Black people do the same thing. They run that shit. Empress said, what's the name of this podcast? Popping Politics. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. I didn't look it up because I'm never gonna watch it. I just want to show this clip. I'm about to make a point. And maybe it says FBA's got no dog in the Middle East conflict. Shouldn't have one, but yeah.
In the United States,
particular issue is a way for conservatives to use as, oh, I'm separating myself because I am a slave or have
it is okay.
Slaves or whatever. I don't care. Ultimately, I am a foundational Black American. I was born here.
Now, their desire to just stake claim to any. Now, keep in mind, FBA is literally created. She read the definition. It's for a particular group. She ignored the definition and said, no, I am a part of that because I was born here. Even though it's not just about being born in America. She know that. Now, let me play the next one.
And, a lot of people talk about being separate and all of this other stuff. Well, look, you could do that now. Find yourself an island in the South Pacific and just go be separate. But most people don't even know how to feed themselves without a supermarket. So that's something that would break down very quickly.
Now, what he said, I thought it was very good. That was a point that I really stuck with me. He said, if you want to separate, go to an island to separate. Now, I took that more than just what he said, which is physically going to another place and separating. I took that as him saying, the idea of being Black American, if you want to separate from that, you need to call yourself something else. Completely, don't even call yourself Black anymore. Completely separate yourself from that identity. If you want to separate from us, because we're not giving it up. We ain't giving it up. Emmanuel said now she's doing jazz and it's being loud. Yeah, they're full-blown Zionists. Oh, okay. Tethers are telling us to leave the U.S. Isn't that hilarious? I think there's more than just the physical leaving and also leaving your identity, but let's move on.
These foundational Black Americans, the authority, whoever they are, I've never heard of such, and no, you may not claim me in your group, just because I happen to be born an American, right? Born an American with beautifully melanated skin, but American nonetheless, right? We're not going to start dividing ourselves into these little pockets that make it easier for people to take advantage of other people.
And let me tell you something, I'm sick of FBAs, okay?
I'm sick of them too. I'm just sick of people begging all the damn time.
Yeah, you can actually walk down Baltimore and step in human feces, and it's generally from an FBA, okay? So,
all right, so now I'm about to make a point. I kept asking myself for a good minute, when it comes to this idea of delineating from these groups, why are they so, even the people who clearly show disdain, why do they want to be attached to the term Black American? Because it's not even about being attached to you anymore, technically. It's about being attached to that political, that title, Black American, African American, has political and social clout, right? So I think the purpose of them wanting to identify with that, if they're from another place, and people, especially people who kind of carry themselves this way, is because they believe the only way they can be American is to be Black American, because Black Americans obviously have a long history here. So their desire to be attached to Black American is not to be attached to Blackness. It's to be attached to Americanness, because their real goal is to be attached to whiteness, which they think is the ultimate American. I'm surprised these people ain't one of those people that say, I'm not Black American, I'm American, I'm an American citizen, yada, 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 yada. I've seen the same thing happen with Candace Owens. Whenever stuff like this gets talked about, she gets kind of fidgety and iffy on it, because she starts talking a certain way that you can. There's a desire to attach to that, to be American. Even though I think she says she has lineage from North Carolina, but I don't know. Virginia says irony to me is they come to America, and even if born into America, at some point they choose to separate, preferring white until it's economically and politically expedient to them. Yeah, expedient to them. And Manuel says, man, when I hear them goofy tethers, that makes me realize we need to revoke the 1965 Immigration Reform Act. And back to what I was about to say earlier, I don't use that tether, but these people, when they decide to attach themselves to you just to get attachment to Americanness or whiteness, that is you can't get around. That's a tether. That's what that is. Empress said, lies, just a tether in disguise. Ain't both. It's because they are cowards and can't stand on their own. Keeper says, they are definitely placating for a specific audience, not genuine. Yeah, I feel like that's obviously they're trying to get a bag. I've seen plenty of Black YouTubers since Trump became a name in politics, at least. He's always was famous, but once Trump got into politics, there's a lot of money, man. There's a lot of money in that, not right wing, in that grifting right wing side of the social media, because if you Black, especially, and you're willing to say certain things, even if you don't believe it, you'll come up quick. Now, don't last long, but you'll go up quick. All right, let me go here. Oh, and go straight to this right here. The Amazing Lucas. I knew you. I was thinking the same thing. Amazing Lucas. He said it. Said Candace Owens and old buddy. They literally said, we don't believe none of this stuff. This is just how we make our money. And Brady says, we converse in English, so the language itself is a light code lockdown. Oh, and by the way, happy Black History Month. Brady says they're going to get rude awakening, wake-up call, because Trump rather have the authentic Black Americans than Black members, a.k.a. tethers. That's not true. Not in most cases. When you start getting to corporate and you start getting to certain, they would much rather hire and school them, because there's not a debt there. If I bring a Nigerian or a Jamaican here to America as a foreign exchange student and I give them a free education and bring them up and able to take them to the top of the corporate America, I don't have the same debt to them. There's not the same energy isn't in the room. Like if you put a Black American in a room with other people from other countries, with like a couple of executives or whatever, that one Black American, when they have certain political conversations been in a room, is going to cause just a certain tension in the room that doesn't exist if he or she is not there. So I definitely think they would much rather have them than you, especially when you talk about economically in their workforce. And Mary says, yeah, but that's about the flip, especially with mass deportations. And we'll see. All right, let me show this now, since we're talking about delineating. Shout out to Black Patriarch on Twitter, that I got this from. He says, every year, he said this person's name, I think it's a group, Umu Igbo Unite, celebrates the Igbo tribe of Nigeria in the U.S. Nothing wrong with it. But at a certain point, we can no longer afford to include them. It's time to have them leave our community. So they celebrate, they get together and celebrate Igbo culture in America.
UIU was started to provide community.
They see that provide a community.
To provide connections, a safe space for us to network together to provide access, career development, professional development, to give back to the community, to create opportunity, especially for our brothers and sisters back home, in hopes that we can build a better Nigeria.
Yeah. It never really goes like that, do it. Every time I see a video of somebody from Nigeria or Nigerian descent talk about Nigeria, it's never in a positive light. They're the main ones they're the main ones that would tell you not to go. They're the main ones tell you that it's not worth it. All talk crazy about it. Igbo culture, while 365 days of the year, they cosplay as FBA. Hey, man. All right, now let's get to this. Let me play this right quick.
Lately, I have seen a lot of videos of black people making fun of Mexicans for what's happening right now with Mexican people. I have also seen black people make videos talking about Mexicans.
Brink says, what is U.S. black culture in is the question. It varies each state. Well, no, I could say each state has a different version of the same culture, which, to be honest with you, has been muddied a lot the last 30, 40 years because a lot of people have went away from it. When you talk about the culture, Black American culture is Christian, conservative. That's really the main, when you talk about those two terms, Christian and conservative, a lot of those things lead to Black American culture. How we act, how we carry ourselves, religious, all the other stuff, the customs that we follow typically come from those two things. Unfortunately, the last couple of years, two decades or so, a lot of more black people don't go to church no more. A lot more black people are not religious, a lot of atheists, other religions, Muslim, all this other stuff. But yeah, it's kind of gotten muddied a lot because you're introducing other cultures in, living in the neighborhood, influence you. Now we're influenced by pop culture so much because we influence it so much. So yeah, it gets kind of muddy on what is the standard versus what's just a trend. Manuel says, oh, that video with the Mexican warrior is hilarious no matter how many times I see it.
Don't come to us for help because we're not helping. First of all, Mexicans are not alone. They have Honduran people, they have Salvadorian people, they have Guatemalan people, they have Nicaraguan people, and a whole bunch of other countries that are willing to join forces with the Mexican people.
Trying to create a Mexican or a Hispanic immigrant Voltron.
Black people, what makes you think that Mexicans are going to come running to y'all for help? What for? Y'all black people can't even help yourselves. That's wild. Mexican people are hardworking people.
I'm so sick and tired of that. I'm so sick and tired of them saying that shit. How are y'all so hardworking, but I don't see that in your country? I mean, I saw a joke somebody made where it was like, man, they went to Mexico for vacation. And they were riding through Mexico. He was seeing how dilapidated it was, how it was tore down and dusty. And he said, man, Mexico could really use some Mexicans. Like, so if you're so hardworking, you hardworking here, apparently, allegedly. Somehow, when you there, it ain't, the hard worker don't exist. It don't exist somehow. There's no building there. The alleged dedication to education don't exist somehow. Y'all just had one of the bloodiest elections I've ever seen. I know it's not in history because I know there's way more bloodier elections, but that was one of the bloodiest election periods I've ever seen. And you're talking about hardworking, family-oriented? Man, get the fuck out of my face. The man says black culture includes inventions. There's over 50,000 patents in the U.S. Patent Office for inventions that innovate innovations from non-immigrant black American inventors. Well, you can't really use the patents thing because there's inventions that came from long before that black people didn't get patents for. They created it and somebody else took control over it. So it is what it is. Virginia says, in my humble opinion, Kendrick pointed it out. They not like us. True, authentic, homegrown, so-called black people culture is watching. All these tellers cosplaying us in the U.S., shaking our heads while we watching the show. Kiva says, it's working out well for them. Exactly. Brady said, that's how we should be thinking. Virginia said, I'm sick and tired of it too. Emmanuel, they work hard to escape Mexico. Hard. Work hard, boy. Kiva says, other Spanish-speaking countries that hate Mexicans. This guy's delusional. I told y'all that story. When I was in middle school, I had and I lied early when I said I didn't have no Puerto Rican. There was one Puerto Rican girl. I was lying. That's wrong. It was one Puerto Rican girl that I knew in middle school named Mitzi. And she had a Mexican friend who she didn't know was Mexican. And they were friends for years. And one day in the classroom, a brother walked up to him and said a joke. He said something. He said something about Mexicans. And she was like, I ain't no dirty Mexican. And her friend right there, she said, I ain't no dirty Mexican. And they weren't friends after that. I'll just say that. So, yeah, Mexicans are seen as the bottom of the Mexican totem pole. Like, Mexicans are at the bottom. When you talk about whether it's the stereotypes of the women or the men in general, they're considered at the bottom. We talk about how they're viewed from an entertainment standpoint, social standpoint, anything. They're considered at the bottom, Mexicans.
Mexican people stick together. They make it work. That's the total opposite of a black person.
The only time I've seen that ring true is in prison stories. I've seen some prison videos of black dudes telling stories of when they was in prison. And they always say the Mexicans, they stick together. The black people are obviously separated into gangs and separate gangs and all that stuff. The only time I've seen the stories of Mexicans sticking together is in prison.
You want to call me a racist? Go right ahead. I'm just keeping it real. Like I said, Mexican people are not alone. They have all of us. What makes you think that a Mexican will say, oh, okay, well, we have the blacks. Let's go to them. Come on now.
Well, you've done it historically. You pattern your entire ideology as far as politically behind black Americans and what they've done to strive for more for their community. But it is what it is. Emmanuel says that the problem is Mexicans, Latin Americans, and South Americans all have this competition with closer to being white and look down on each other. Yeah, the more Spaniard, the better. Mexicans are seen as like the dirty Spanish people. They have a little too much native in them. They have a little too much other in them. But yeah. Keeper said time to call ICE. Oh, well, I got one.
Bad hombre.
They're bad hombres. All right. Let me show this.
I saw a video of a Hispanic man today saying that we don't need the support from black people because we got each other. We got Mexicans, Hondurans, Salvadorans, Nicaraguenses. He basically mentioned all Central America and said, we don't need you guys. If you guys...
Brayden says 5 black people in a house, some bills going to be late, and there's going to be unnecessary issues. We need accountability. There's some truth there. I can agree with that. I'm not saying that he's wrong about the idea of black people working together. I'm saying that idea of them working together and being so close only seems to happen when they get to America. They don't do it in their home country, which means it's not something that's organic to their culture. It's just simply them getting here. And when you're in a foreign country, you do things, which is what, I'm not saying I agree with this. When you hear certain people who are part of the extreme hotep or certain ideologies amongst black people, they beg and plead for harmful and bad things to happen to black people, not because they want black people to be hurt, but they think something catastrophic needs to happen to make black people get together. Some people believe we needed Jim Crow for you niggas to work together. We needed it. And now that that's been removed and you given just a little bit of space to move, you scatter and get away from each other. You don't build with each other, which is true. I don't want pain and suffering to happen to black people, but there are people who believe it needs to happen. Or hell, if you just took black Americans and just dumped them in another country, that the culture would immediately just shift overnight because you would not be allowed to move a certain way in another country. You have to immediately stick to the people closest to you, the ones your loved ones, and work with people that look like you, that understand your language, all the other stuff. So it's kind of normal to happen when you go to another country. Emmanuel said that makes a clown got roasted for that video. Yeah, they was on him.
Can't support each other. How is it that we need your support, or how is it that we're gonna even get your support? Anybody who saw that video, I watched the whole thing. Anybody who saw that video that's black, I'm sorry. I'm wholeheartedly sorry. We don't all think like that. My heart has been filled with so much joy seeing the support from the black community, because we're finally coming to realize that we are so much alike.
I'm gonna be honest, and this is just social media. I haven't seen all this support she's saying. I haven't seen it.
That we need each other, that we need to support each other. That rhetoric that we should hate each other. Now more than ever, we should see how alike we are and how we need each other and how we can succeed when we unite.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Emmanuel says that lets you know The ISIS agents is coming. Oh man. All right, let me show one more. Let me show one more of these. I got a couple. Empress says, everybody defaults to blacks. Wonder why that is. The original currency, original frequency, original power source on the plant. If only we recognized it. She's bragging using reverse psychology. Yeah, Keith, I didn't want to say it. I got some other things I think about her, but I'm going to leave it alone because I'm going to turn into a stereotypical black man. But I'm going to leave it alone, but I got a feeling why she's saying what she's saying. But anyway. But yeah, in America, there's only two, as much as they say it's all these is diverse country and mixed country, whatever. America is two races, politically and socially. You're either black or you're white. Pick one. That's going to decide your entire ideology here in America. The hate blacks math ain't math. All right, let me show this.
One thing that I have to ask is got me really, really bothered is where are y'all Black Lives Matter people at, man?
Now keep in mind, I've seen one Mexican woman make comments, quote unquote, negative towards black people and their support for them in this time. But for the most part, most of the comments are people saying black people ain't doing enough. Black people, we don't need your help. It's the men. The women are saying, we do need your help. We thank you for your help, yada, yada, yada. I'm just going to leave that there.
When y'all needed us Mexicans and all my peoples was there, standing, marching along with y'all right there, ready to take out whatever needed to be done. So now where y'all at, man? This is real talk, man. This is, get off the, man. Where y'all at, man? This is real talk.
Is this a migger? I know we got wiggers. This a migger?
Talk.
This migger said real talk, man. All right, man. Emmanuel says, sorry, Mama Sita, we ain't putting on cakes for y'all, especially after your Mexican man been acting like fool for decades against our community for decades. Emmanuel says, it's barely been 2 weeks and they folding lawn chairs. Keep it cholo. Yeah, that's the cholo, which is, offshoot. Jenny says, I swear what these people talking about, Willis, when, where, how, who. Yeah, they remember a history that never happened. Imposters, man. Let me play this. Let me make sure this. No, I can show this first. Let me show this first.
I need y'all to see what I just saw on a job application.
Now, this is getting kind of old.
Leaders levels to blackness, and they need to know exactly where you're from. Look at this. Okay, so as you can see, it says Black African, Black Caribbean, Black European, Black North and South America. Even the Hispanic and Latino, they need to know exactly where you're from. I need you.
That's positive. I'm going to play one more video about something else, and then we'll get some more videos. Let me play this right quick. This woman went off.
I've been trying to make this video for about 20 minutes now, and I'm so fucking angry. And when I get angry like this, I get emotional. But you know what? So be it. A group of Black educators and Black business professionals got together and created Hillman Talk, which is what we do as a community. We uplift and we teach each other. And I'm so proud to see it because it takes us back to what our ancestors used to do. And then here come the white people, specifically white women. One white woman tried to claim the domain so that she could profit off of it. I'm online in one of the classes and I'm listening to this professor speak, handsome Black man. And in the comments, the Black people are asking questions. They're trying to fucking learn. And what are you white bitches doing? You're trying to get some Black D. You're flirting. You're cracking jokes. There was one Black woman who asked the question of the professor. And a white woman decided she was going to answer the question. To which the Black woman replied, thank you, but I'm asking the professor. And this bitch replied, you don't have to get an attitude, honey. I'm just, what?
And your space is trying to take over, trying to profit from your own, something you're trying to build. I remember Travis told me this story years ago. He was in this group thing. It was like an app or something. He keeps it sound like Washington State. Yeah. She's just pissed off with him. But he was in this, like, it wasn't like a group chat. It was like not a chat room. It was like not a Facebook group, but it's like a Facebook group pretty much. But it wasn't on Facebook. And it was for black people, black men and women. And they're talking about stuff, life and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure people's in there trying to, hit it off or whatever. And he said it was an Arab dude in there or a white dude in there. And he's like, why are they in here? This is for black people. And the black people turned around and said, you being racist in a black group. Like, telling somebody who's not black while they're in a black group is, he ended up leaving the group. It was just funny to me. The way he tell the story, he was just shocked they would even, it was crazy. Let me, I think I can skip this. Oh, yeah, we got to show this. Speaking of Kendrick, Virginia brought up Kendrick earlier. There's this Nigerian dude that studied Kendrick to perfection and made this song.
I got the bowl in my cot. My hands on the name like I'm checking the time, but I'm holding a Glock. 11 o'clock. It ain't Valentine, but I'm shooting my shot. Put a hole in your heart. I'm loving you not. King of a pop. If Malika's on pop, I'm afraid I won't stop. I say it a lot. You niggas get out the spot.
This nigga sound too much like Kendrick. Hold up.
It's too much. But I'll copy them. Which lead me to this right here. Shout out Soul Black. This dude right here be posting a lot of documentary clips and stuff. He shows the history of music in America and how it has influenced other countries. That's how him and Kanye West is how I found out about Brazilian funk. I didn't even know that was a thing. Kanye West on his Vultures 1 album had one of the songs that was pretty much Brazilian funk, a song from Brazilian funk on his album. But he said when Ethiopia started to allow musicians to record music, they created music based on Black American genres and rhythm, jazz, R&B, rock and roll, soul, etc. These were the first recreational recordings. Ethiopia's modern music history is rooted in Black American culture. I got to play the video, but he's done this for Brazilians, South Africans, Nigerians, Ethiopians. We've even seen influence in the Middle East. And we're talking about modern history, just 60s now. And there's been that level of influence in these cultures that have existed for thousands of years. Then I want to show this right here. This person said, when I kept seeing lives like Black Americans or Africans prove me wrong, almost every day I knew something was off. How many of these people are still getting paid to keep our ethnic group in their everyday topics?
Targeting African Americans, and now we've actually come here to Ghana.
Marion says, bro, but so many anti-Black Democrats keep saying that Black Americans have no culture. Let me play this right quick.
Months now, we've been investigating this network of trolls targeting African Americans, and now we've actually come here to Ghana.
Oh, it's like racist. Okay.
In the run-up to our journey, we had discovered that all of the accounts were connected to an NGO called Eliminating Barriers for the Liberation of Africa, known as EBLA or EBLA. Looking at the website, it was clear something was off. Parts of it still had dummy text. It was impossible to make an actual donation. And most mysteriously, one of the photographs had a Russian file name. Though the group claimed to be...
This is when they were trying to prove that Russia was trying to influence Black Americans here in America by making these accounts. I mean, I was following an account like 6 years ago. It had a lot of followers. They used to post a lot of Black history stuff, Black achievements, stuff going on around the country. Some Black girl gets, every scholarship in America, or some Black boy has this test score that's extremely high, whatever. And turns out it was an account created from a foreign country. It had hundreds of thousands of followers, and randomly it got deleted. And they said, oh, this account was ran by Russia. I was kind of like, why are Russians setting up accounts to mimic Black Americans? But now I see there's accounts of Indians acting like they're Black women. There's accounts of Chinese doing it. There's really Asians in general. There's obviously some Africans doing it. It's people all over the planet, and I don't think they're just doing this obviously with Black American accounts, but for whatever reason, the Black American accounts seem to grow the fastest and have the most influence on these websites.
Focused on issues like poverty in Ghana, its employees posted almost exclusively about the U.S. Some used incendiary language. America's descent into a fascist police state continues. Someone needs to take that senator out. Often they posted on real U.S. groups, an attempt to gain legitimacy and build an audience.
Sounds familiar? America says one of the largest BLM pages was run by a white guy in Australia using it to scam money. Yeah, I'm not surprised. All over the globe. Being America is the media capital and have the most influence on these sites. I remember TikTok, that couple hours where it went down, a whole bunch of people came out and said, man, I didn't realize how much Americans influence a global app like TikTok. It's people from all over the world, but all the most popular people, all the trends are started through the Americans. So anyway, I want to show, what is this? Yeah, I can skip this. They're talking about the movie roles. You can skip that. Let me show this. And tell me what y'all think about these comments.
You said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving Black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours." Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that to particular antigens that Blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that Blacks need fewer antigens than...
This is so dangerous.
You get the same measles vaccine.
Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect, that is so dangerous. Your voice would be a voice that parents would listen to. That is so dangerous. I will be voting against your nomination because your views are dangerous to our state and to our country.
Brady says they want your culture, not your problems. Exactly. Virginia says, we are the currency champions, my friends. We keep on fighting to the end, Regina, which means queen. Virginia says she only took a small clip of what he said and meant. Yeah, Virginia says, sorry, no disrespect, but I'm glad RFK Jr. isn't the prez. I couldn't be able to listen to his voice on the regular. Virginia says he's telling the truth and she is deflecting from the truth. Let that man finish his thought. Yeah, let me say this. I understand why people would say this is dangerous because my own mother, my mama, rest in peace, she would complain that whenever she would go and have surgeries or and ask for pain medication, when she would tell them, they would ask her, what your pain scale is, 1 to 10. If she said 8, if she said like 6, they would treat it like a 3 or 4. If she said 7, they would give her a 5. So she would have to, and the pain medication they would give her wouldn't help her really. So she would have to tell them, she would have to go above and beyond to tell them her pain threshold so they would actually give her the proper painkillers that she needs. So I understand, and then the idea of when Black women, when it comes to their pregnancies and what they go through, and doctor offices don't listen to what they say, they think they just over exaggerating and stuff. I get why she's saying it's dangerous for him to say Black people have this medically. They're better this medically. But let's be honest and say why can't we address medically and scientifically what are the differences? Because you probably, when you start, we all come from different environments. I'm talking about our lineage, our history. Africans, Asians, Europeans. You come from different heritages or lineages, so there are going to be genetic differences. Why wouldn't we want to see these differences so that we can properly take care of people? Because we've been hearing this forever. Black people have high pain tolerance. They have a higher this. So you probably should listen to some of this stuff. I understand eugenics is something we're against, but there's some of this stuff has to really be studied so we can get the truth. Brayden says medical apartheid is an actual book. People says they don't listen. It's something that needs to be addressed. RFK wants to address the issues. Exactly. When we look at diabetes, all these other diseases that Black people are number one across the board, we have to say, what about them is causing them to be affected by certain things more? Like, you would think you would want to know this. Brady says, Dr. Jewel Pookrum, I'm sorry if I'm saying that name wrong, is a good medical reference. All right. But yeah, it's just, I would think it would be something you would want to be studied and talked about so you can get to a real answer. To actually help, but immediately, racism, and we done with the conversation now. All right, and I'm not saying medical racism doesn't, scientific, I know the eugenic, we know, but come on, man. Anyway. I'm going to run through this quick. Don't worry. Why NVIDIA's share price dropped 17% after DeepSeek news. I don't know if y'all used, what Keeper says, she's probably in the back pocket of Big Pharma. Yeah, she probably got some checks she getting from them. But I don't know if y'all follow the AI stuff going on. I don't know if y'all use ChatGPT. I mean, everybody use it. But there's this new, well, it's probably not new, but I found this new thing that popped up recently called DeepSeek. It's pretty much ChatGPT, just way more in depth. It is what they call let me see if I got it right, AGI, an artificial general intelligence, or adjusted grossing, or artificial general intelligence, where they're trying to mimic the actual intelligence of a human person. So I used this this tool, and when you ask this thing something, not only do you get the answer from it, you can literally, quote unquote, I know it's all programming, so it's not doing it on its own, it's programmed to do certain things, but it literally shows you how it came to the conclusion, what it was, quote unquote, thinking about when it did it, how it asserted certain things, try to quantify what you were saying, make sure they got the proper context on how you were saying it. It got them up out of here. The American market was shocked by this. Apparently did it in a completely lower budget than what the American Silicon Valley was doing. Tiny budget compared. I know America has been trying to stop China from getting access to NVIDIA's chips, the chips they have. So not NVIDIA, but yeah, the chips they get. They're trying to make sure China get the lower scale chips than what America has access to. And it didn't stop them from doing this, apparently. So let me just show this. It went down, lost $600 billion. Good God. The sell-off was triggered by Chinese startup DeepSeek's announcement of the R1 artificial intelligence AI model, which reportedly achieved similar performance to Western models at significantly lower price. DeepSeek's breakthrough has raised questions about future demand for high-performance AI chips. NVIDIA's core business, the model was devoted using stockpile NVIDIA graphics processing units, GPUs. Jenny says, the DeepSeek story is wild, and Elon, the robot, is pissed off. Yeah. I'm shocked Elon and Trump aren't crying DEI recording DeepSeek. Man, so just don't DeepSeek about telling him a square. I mean, said because the Chinese use Chinese ChatGPT program as a base and just refined it. I'm pretty sure that's what they always do. China is known for just kind of reconfiguring everything that Americans or Western countries create and backdooring or whatever. Brilliant says, as a homeschooling dad, I use ChatGPT as a regular, just started using Deep. Yeah, that DeepSeek it's a lot more in depth. It gives you, I feel like, obviously I know it's programming, it's definitely better at the philosophical questions, just basic equations of certain things it can do better, faster, more in depth. It's just all around a better tool. So it hit him in the pockets hard. And if I'm not mistaken, DeepSeek hit with large-scale cyber attack, says it's limiting registration. So I wonder who did that. I wonder how that happened. You put this out, it's immediately up, and all of a sudden, you get hit with a cyber attack. What up, Tommy? Good to see you, man. So that's some more tech wars going on. Let me just move forward now. Emmanuel cough, CIA. Definitely. But it ain't just them. I'm pretty sure that China probably got their information from Israel, who probably stole it from America. I'm just saying it. That's normally what happens. Somehow America has built this weird friendship and almost incredible loyalty to Israel, and all they do is steal their tech from them and sell it off to other countries. So I'm pretty sure they stole it from them through them and gave it to the Chinese. But anyway, let me show. All right, we can move forward with this now. Now, last week, Regina and y'all brought up that Joe Biden joined or was given conferred membership to the Prince Hall Freemasons in South Carolina. So Joe Biden conferred membership of the Freemasons in South Carolina. In a private ceremony on January 19th, Joe Biden was given membership to the Freemasons despite Catholic teaching that has remained constant for centuries, firmly prohibiting such inaction. So immediately, we say the obvious, oh, wow, you let them join your fraternities or whatever, and you can't even join theirs and get to the highest level. Typical, stuff you talk about when you see crazy stuff like this, when Negroes do stuff like that. But it's not surprising, now that I know it was in South Carolina. I didn't look this up, and I'm pretty sure it's true. What's his, the governor, I think he's either governor or senator. I can't remember now, of South Carolina. What's his name? Hold on. Let me look this up right quick. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, there we go. Is James Clyburn a Freemason? Let me see this. Let me do some live. Oh. It doesn't say. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. All right. I'm going to be able to get proof of that right now. I might look that up later. I should have did that earlier. Tommy says they are Catholic too. Yeah, which is why he wasn't supposed to join them. They said, old James Sharecropper Clyburn is a free or Prince Hall Mason. Has to be. Well, that's what I was getting to. That's probably the reason why he even, because in South Carolina, that's the reason why I'm thinking more than likely associated with Clyburn, who pushed this forward. Now, let me show a clip I want to show. Now, this what I'm about to show is a clip from a little while ago. I didn't get the exact date because when I looked up the actual channel, it's called something uncensored. I forgot his name. It might be in this clip. I couldn't find the channel. So this dude apparently snuck into a Freemason ritual at one of these lodges, and he recorded it. He put it out, and his channel, I can't find his channel. I guess it's a big channel. I can't find the channel. Maybe I just didn't look correctly. I didn't type it in correctly. I don't know. But this is what he posted at one of these Freemason meetings. There you go. Cal Undercover. No, his name Cal Undercover, who recorded this one.
Grandmaster Hierophant, I'm glad to meet you. Give me the secrets of a master mason, or I will take your life.
This is no time or place for the man, no secrets.
Talk not to me about time, place, patience, or the completion of the temple. Give me the secrets of a master mason, or I will take your life.
It behooves you in this rude and violent manner thus to demand no secrets. When the temple's completed, if found worthy, you'll then receive them lawfully as I have.
You have passed Jubilo. Me you cannot pass. My name is Jubilo, well known for my determination of character. What I undertake, that I do. Give me the secrets of a master mason instantly, or I will take your life.
I will not.
What? Still persist? Then die.
This is obviously them mimicking the idea that they're willing to die than tell the secrets. So I can't find this dude. I don't know if his channel was deleted. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know. But when y'all brought up the Freemason thing, something ended up coming out. People said, this is the white temple. I wonder what the black temple be like. I ain't gonna say, I'm about to say something stereotypical. They got some hen dog in there. The good old days. Masons are so goofy. Yeah, they're goofy until they actually doing some serious stuff. When people start popping up missing and hands gone and stuff like that. But let me show this. I was thinking the same thing when I envisioned a lot of bending over. LOL, bending over. Brady said, this ain't the real deal. How hold it for? Nah, that's the low level. Those are low level recruits. Those are, dudes who think they Christians and just a charitable group or foundation that do stuff for the community. That's low level. That ain't the real deal. So speaking of Mason, this audio came out a few weeks ago. This is January 15, 2025. It was originally, as far as I know, it was Alex Jones that played this. Now, I know Alex Jones is in the doghouse. They just took everything from him. But he's still doing a show, I think, on YouTube or something. He posts on YouTube, should I say. And there's a call that is showing the former DNC leadership telling somebody that they're the reason why the LBJ is the one who won, kill, or asked for the killing of John F. Kennedy. The recent resurfacing of allegations against former President Lyndon B. Johnson and his ties to Malcolm Mac Wallace has reignited a decades-old debate about political conspiracies, murder, and deep-sealed corruption of American institutions. Alex Jones still got bread. Don't believe that I'm broke. Man, Alex Jones got so much money hidden. Alex Jones had a Russian business citizenship thing. He got money overseas. Alex Jones is nowhere near broke. Brings his anonymity as a commodity to the ultra rich. So let me play this clip of him saying, now this is the son of, well, let me get it out of this article right quick. Hold on. I want to make sure I get his name right. Billy Soul. His grandson is the one who released the recording of this, right? So the dude who he was considered a very controversial figure. To my Billy Soul's grandson. Billy Soul was considered a very controversial figure in his time. Some people think that he was doing some dirty stuff behind the scenes for his business. Some people feel like he was just, hard-nosed dude. So his grandson released this recording of him talking to someone else about the calling for the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So in the recording recently released by Billy Soul's grandson, and it claimed that LBJ orchestrated a series of murders, including the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, to consolidate his political power. The claims are based on never-before-heard audio of Clifton Carter, the former executive director of the Democratic National Committee and close associate of LBJ, admitting that LBJ hired Mac Wallace to assassinate JFK. So let me play the audio now. Regina says, a really good YouTube podcast that deals with Cold War, JFK assassination, etc. It's called Dark Journal. When I saw this, I already knew these people. This is how you know stuff be allowed open secret. All these names I knew, and you know why I knew them? Because of that YouTube doc in the book. But the YouTube doc, everything is a rich man's trick from JFK to 9/11. They literally said all these names, said who did it, why they did everything. It was all in that documentary or in that book that existed already. So nothing I heard on this call surprised me. It's just surprising that there's a call and there might be some speculation as to why the grandson released it, because Trump is saying he's going to release the JFK files, and maybe the Billy Soul's grandson, is making sure what you release is the truth and not trying to flip it and pin it on somebody else.
How's life treating you today? Well, Saul, it's been a pretty touch and go situation. Linda and I have had quite a few unpleasant words here lately over the deal that he hired Mike Wallace to assassinate the president. It's been hectic in every way, but we've lived through it this far. I guess we'll continue to do so. Lyndon should have never issued that order to Mike, but we've had our differences, and I'm a true blue to Lyndon, as I've always been, and tried to carry out every order that he'd ever given me. But this is one I'll probably never be able to forget. And the times that we've had in Texas, and the embarrassment that Lyndon had gotten from Kennedy, I guess there wasn't anything else to do but what he did.
Well, you know, Lyndon could have really hit me if he would.
Well, Lyndon's the kind of person that doesn't want to help anyone. He's all for Lyndon, and that's the way he's pretty much always been.
Well, they had me backed up on that Henry Marshall killing, and they just kind of blackmailed me to keep my mouth shut. And if I hadn't had a bunch of tapes that I played after he got killed, because, you know, 17 got killed in this situation very mysteriously.
I'm gonna pause for a second. Now, he said he got tapes. So the one tape, this audio here is one of the tapes that's been released. Obviously, he got tapes of other things being said, the other tapes he got recorded. So once again, this to me is more of a warning as well. This call being released by the grandson is saying that I got other tapes of other things being admitted. Brady says, also Maddox, I said, black folks still trying to figure out who really killed Malcolm X. Meanwhile, them people planning 2050. Well, I will say the people who plan in 2050 don't want you to know who killed any of these people, because it don't benefit them you knowing as well. Not about them getting arrested or something happened to them, but when it's pulled up, when everything is revealed, they can't move the same way. It affects things a little bit.
And I've done a lot of time, and I've lost a lot of money, and hurt my family a whole lot. And it's really got me just disgusted with Lyndon in one way. In one way, I feel real sorry for him.
Thanks for being.
Now, immediately I thought, because I didn't see this, how is this not like the biggest story in the country right now? At least undercurrent of a story. This not really talked about much at all. You don't see too many articles written on this. You're not seeing too many people speak on this who are these political pundits or whatever. We've been seeing people talk about the files being released and whether or not Martin Luther King was cheating on his wife versus some files being released and it possibly showed that a vice president, a former president, had a president assassinated. Like, this would be a much bigger discussion, but I heard people asking the question, do they think it's AI? Was it created? Is it real? AI thing is a thing you have to ask nowadays, but it is what it is. I think this is Billy Soul right here. And this is the guy, this is the guy who they say actually killed RFK. Hold on, let me go. Yeah, I'm sorry, JFK. I'm sorry, RFK. JFK. And I've seen him, and this right here, as I said, in that doc, if you watch it, he's the one who come up. This was years ago. They literally say he did it. So maybe it's because they heard all these things and people got connected, so they put it out earlier. So this is not really going to be a shock for most people. But also I want to show this. Speaking of more Freemason, I know y'all, if you pay attention to geopolitical stuff, and we talked about it, Syria was, they ran out the president, Bashar, how you say his name, Bashar al-Assad, or Assad as they just call him. He was ran out, and now you see this, Freemasons eyeing a comeback in Syria. The statement supposedly published by the organization announces their return after a 5-decade ban under the Assad government. For the past 5 decades, the Freemasons lodges have been officially absent for the Syrian arena due to the security and political connections imposed by the authoritarian regime. The statement said it accused the previous government of suppressing any organizations or intellectual or cultural trends that might pose a threat to its secure control over Syria and its people. The organization described its return as part of Syria's reconstruction, stating, "The sun of freedom shines in our homeland and our forms once again," announcing the beginning of a new era that allows the Syrian people to regain the civil and intellectual freedoms. Virginia says Dark Journals also dealt with the geopolitical stuff. He reports on all the hidden hand types involved. Time says, why are people acting scared of Freemason? Well, historically, Freemasons have been tied. I'm gonna get it's in this. Freemasons have been tied to a secret organization that have been able to influence governments and economies across the world. That's overthrown economies and governments, and they believe there's some level of satanic worship, or at least some esoteric things going on. Where he says, follow up the Obama administration, we don't remember anything, destabilization. Yeah. It also distances itself from politics, emphasizing we assure the Syrian people and the Syrian leadership that we are not a political organization and do not seek to interfere in political affairs or participate in political union or party work. Instead, its role is to promote the values of tolerance, brotherhood. Remember that brotherhood that existed? What's it called? A Muslim Brotherhood? Was that what it's called? During the Obama administration? Cultural openness, education, charitable work, and the advancement of society. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Muslim Brotherhood was accused of being a Freemason Zionist group by other Muslim leadership. Anyway, Freemasonry, a fraternity society with secretive traditions, has historically been controversial. Critics have accused it of elitism and having undue influence in political and economic affairs, while some religious groups have alleged that its members worship the devil. The organization has also been the focus of conspiracy theories, often linked to globalist agendas and covert political control. See, that's why they're a little bit weary of them. Syria's Ba'ath Party branded Freemasonry a illegal secret society and banned it in 1965 during the presidency of Ayman al-Hafez. Later, other Middle Eastern governments, Syria associated the fraternal organization with Western influence and Zionism, leading to its prohibition. Keeper says, Keeper did a pretty good deep dive into this. Yeah, it's been talked about a lot. A lot of people got a lot of docs on it and stuff. And the fact that they are announcing their return is kind of funny. Tommy says, do you all understand most of the organizations are linked to Freemasonry? 100%. I was watching a video yesterday of a young woman. She was black. She was a part of a Delta sorority. And she said she denounced it because she found out that she felt like she was a witch or whatever. And she admitted that in the stuff behind the scenes, the rituals and stuff they do, that when I heard it, she didn't say it was Freemasonry. She said it was witchcraft. But I said what she's describing is Freemasonry. We've seen gang leaders admit that behind there, it's all Freemasonry. You talk about Bloods, Crips, GDs, folk, all them. That's all low-level Freemasonry. Virginia says, I imagine for every group we hear about, it's the hidden hand ones that back we don't. That's the truly controlling things. And spoiler alert, they look like us, even though they not like us. Yeah, I heard that too, that there's a black sect of people who actually run everything. And it reminds me that, matter of fact, that it's funny you brought that up, because that's just like the movie They Clone Tyrone. Because in the movie They Clone Tyrone, the dude who's doing all this stuff to black people is black. And he's trying to force black people to assimilate with the rest of the culture so they'll survive. Because he lost his brother when he was young to gun violence. So he decided to pretty much force black people to group themselves with the quote-unquote dominant culture. That's really what They Clone Tyrone was about. Emmanuel says the boule. Emmanuel says the black elite society called the boule. They don't want that combo, dude. Virginia says They Clone Tyrone is a movie. Lovecraft Country series is a great case study for this. Exactly, that too. Even, I bring this up all the time, even American Gods. A lot of those shows kind of can be you can look at those and kind of get how the art imitates life, or life imitates art, how you see it. And they kind of tell you some truth in some of these movies. Sometimes the content of the movie is better than the movie, or the show, should I say, movie or show. Sometimes what's not being said makes the show even better than what's being said. All right, The Magical Negro. Yeah, that didn't do well because of just how it looked. It's a white dude fall in love with a white girl, but his job is to make the white dude and the white woman fall in love. That turned into a whole nother situation. These American Gods predicted Elon Musk's Neuralink the last season. Well, yeah, worship of the of modern internet. Reagan says the ID channel is the case study on white psychology and schizophrenia. Oh, let me show this too, because Erdogan president and the leader of of Turkey. I'm sorry. Now, Erdogan is the reason why Assad lost Syria. Erdogan is the reason why that happened. I remember the day that it was announced that Assad ran, and Assad was just like, you could tell he's part of the reason why that happened. He was part of that. He was the main reason for that. Now, this is an old thing from 2020. It said Erdogan is a Freemason, member of Turkey's secret society, claimed Serbian Yugoslavian researcher. Now, that right there, I'm not going to try to say the name, they're not Muslim. They're supposedly they're Zionists who changed their religion to Muslim in order to not die, pretty much. Same thing that happened with the Ashkenazis, where they were surrounded by the Christians and the Muslims, and they chose Judaism, and now they're being claimed in that sense. Time said, you have some crazy individuals and everything. You do. That's true. Virginia said the blacklist. Why you bring that up? The blacklist and criminal minds are also a good case study on white psychology. Yeah. Hell, you can just look at the docs they create when you talk about these serial killers and the fascination they have with people who brutally and gruesomely kill and harm people. Yeah. Ray says, me too, Virginia. Then I said, these folks wicked. But yeah, he's saying it. So now my mind is, well, Erdogan is the reason why the Freemasons, or part of that, reason why the Freemasons are going to be in Syria now. They remind me a lot of, that's like that term Illuminati. How when you first get on the internet and you start looking at conspiracy theories and you just hear that Illuminati word so much, it gets played out so quick that you just go, all right, that's what Freemasons kind of turned into now. Virginia says, I started to say, even though Dukes hates the blacklist, but it highlights the types of white folks that white folks is afraid of. Yeah. All right. Quick story on this. More geopolitics and stuff. Rebels kill DR Congo governor as fighting intensifies. So there's a whole war pretty much going on, or riots are going on in the Congo. And people are, whether it's political, they already killed a governor threatening to do more. Rebels from the Rwanda-backed M23 have killed a military governor as they advance through Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the army confirmed on Friday. Now, I'm not going to go too far into this. Unfortunately, this is kind of something that goes on in countries like this, where it's constantly destabilized and stuff. And we know, as Virginia said earlier, the hidden hand that's involved. But maybe that hidden hand is a little bit exposed when it comes to this. This is January 28th. This is January 28th. Lab holding Ebola virus in Congo's at Goma at risk amid fighting. This is Red Cross is basically saying, hey, because of what's going on over there, there's a possibility that this virus can end up getting out, whatever. So they're saying that it might end up getting out. The problem is, since December 5th, they've had unexpected deaths that's been happening. So lab results expected soon in DR Congo's mystery outbreak. Results from lab tests on samples from patients with flu-like symptoms and an unknown illness outbreak in a remote part of the Democratic Republic of Congo are expected within the next 24 to 48 hours, an official from the country's health ministry said today. So they don't know what this is, but they thought they would be able to get some understanding later. Now, this right here is the 9th. Mysterious fatal disease X outbreak in Congo still can't be explained. Now, I'm wondering, because I saw somebody break this down too, they were making the point, they wonder if this mysterious outbreak is being covered up by these riots and the killings that's happening with this, I don't want to call it a war, but the turmoil that's going on. Wicked, and also highlight for me the ritualistic, sacrificial nature of killing, murdering of people. Yeah, you get that from the Romans. If you see what the Romans and Greeks was into as far as punishment, just kind of tell you who they are. All right, we see a whole bunch of disease breaking out too. I gotta show this one. I'll just say tuberculosis outbreak in Kansas is alarming. It's not the biggest in the U.S. history, though. CDC says tuberculosis outbreak apparently in Kansas. All right. Okay. Let me move on to this last tab. Get to these last stories. All right. Last stories. 41 bodies recovered from D.C. plane crash site as search continues. I don't know if that's all they found. I don't know if this is the most recent number. But the plane crash, helicopter, or the Black Hawk, and an airliner crashed low to the ground. Wasn't even, the helicopter apparently wasn't even as high. It was too high. It wasn't even supposed to be that high, but it ended up crashing. The video looks strange because I get it. It's a lot of lights in that type of city. You're up high, you can't see everything. It's dark, it's night. But it just looks strange. And rest in peace and condolences to all the people that lost their lives in this. Immediately, it became a firestorm because of Trump's comments where he said DEI is the reason for stuff like this happening. And he tried to make the point that the Obama and the Biden administrations have led to a lax in keeping things up to par and allowing people who are not qualified to get certain positions. Once again, they keep tying DEI to black now, but it ain't really what they're saying. Anyway, let me show this right here. There was one particular young lady who died in this crash, and plenty of them, we've seen the people, the parents, the wife who texted her husband 10 minutes. Who was text 10 minutes before the crash and never got an answer back. The flight attendant and all the parents and stuff. But there was one young lady that I saw. I want to show this video who passed away in this crash.
Love it. And Kia, what about you? How did you come to work on bail reform issues?
Yes, hi. Thank you for having me here. So, like you said, my name is Kia Duggins, and I am originally from Wichita, Kansas, and I went to Wichita Public Schools from kindergarten through college, and then I eventually went to and graduated from Harvard Law School, and now I work at an organization called Civil Rights Corps, where I litigate cases against police abuse and pretrial detention nationwide. And what brought me to this work is very personal. I'm a descendant of enslaved people who have been exploited economically and physically by our criminal legal system for hundreds of years. And to put a finer point on it, on the day that I took the LSAT exam, which is required to get into law school, my uncle was detained pre-trial, was killed on the same day that I was there to take my LSAT. So my family has been very personally affected by pretrial detention and by the harms of the criminal legal system. And I went to law school to help remedy some of those harms and make sure that other people don't experience it. And Civil Rights Corps is actually the organization that filed the O'Donnell lawsuit that Ken just mentioned. And the goal of that lawsuit was to make sure that people who are charged with misdemeanors, but who are legally innocent, do not sit in cages pre-trial simply because they cannot afford bail. And we actually were able to win that case. And studies since the O'Donnell decision came down have shown that crime has actually gone down in Harris County since the O'Donnell decision happened. So,
unfortunate, rest in peace to her and all the people that were affected. She seemed like somebody who had a purpose and were moving in that purpose, and we lost them. Ray says they do tie it to black people. They control the narrative. Media is powerful. Exactly. Now, I will say there's been people, unfortunately, people who are associated with Trump and his supporters who have blatantly said, what's his name, Charlie Kirk? He flat out said, when I see a black pilot, I get nervous. So he was directing it towards black people. But yeah, Trump and most of the people have kind of said DEI in general. And once again, I keep saying it's not to target black people. I think it's to target white women. Virginia says, to me, Trump blaming DEI for this crash was cold for retarded white men. Because the U.S. labor stats that 90% of pilots are Caucasian men. All jokes aside, they don't hire people not equal. Now, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he pointed out, he said that Joe Biden and Obama lowered what the requirements should be to allow people in certain positions. He never said they made it blacker or made it another race or whatever. He just said qualifications. So it is what it is. I want to play this too.
Staff Sergeant and CW2 Chief Warrant Officer. On a routine annual retraining of night flights on a standard corridor for a continuity of government mission. The military does dangerous things. It does routine retraining of night flights on a standard corridor for a
So I'm confused when I saw this. Was he trying to say that this was a part of a training exercise that ended up leading to people being killed? Keeper says he said there were people that were mental disabilities that shouldn't be in these positions as well. That's what I'm saying. But like the media does with its propaganda, they keep tying it to black people. So unfortunately, a lot of people will fall for it and move and think that he's now. I'm not saying what his intent behind it is. I'm saying what he's saying. If you just go based off what he's saying. What up, Honorable? Let me go forward. Now, what y'all think about this right here? Americans may not have to pay income taxes anymore if Donald Trump gets his way. Here's what the president wants. Synopsis. I'm going to read the synopsis. Donald Trump proposes eliminating income tax in favor of a tariff-centric economic policy to increase American wealth. He cites the success of similar systems from 1870 to 1913. Now, to me, this sounds like he's talking about pre-Federal Reserve, and that's dangerous. Trump suggests creating a new agency called External Revenue Service to manage tariffs and foreign revenue, addressing concerns about the current taxation systems impacting our citizens. When he said that, when I saw the timeline that it said, this made me go back to what he said in his first presidential run, when he first was running during his campaign, when he was saying why do we have a Federal Reserve? We know now it's not federal. It has nothing to, you don't control it. It's privately ran. We've seen people die behind certain comments when it comes to a Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, depending on the context you look at it at, when you talk about the Civil War, the Federal Reserve had a lot to do with that. There were people in the South that were offered pretty much to get their own Federal Reserve Bank. In the North, and Lincoln didn't want the North and the South to separate. So it's like you had the slavery going on, which was that battle, the abolitionists and all the people trying to abolish that. Then you had this banking, this Federal Reserve privately ran organization that was trying to pretty much trying to give everybody their own private bank, which meant debt. Trying to put more and more people in debt to control everything through the money. As they always say, whoever runs the money whoever runs the economy runs the country. So if Trump is talking like that, those two attempted assassinations won't be the last. Let me play this right quick. Hold on.
America is going to be very rich again, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money. And that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
This is the plan. I know a lot of people saying the tariffs are coming, which means prices will go up. And you see here, let me get back to this. Trump tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China begin Saturday, White House says. Let me go down. All right. An apparent ending to weeks of intense speculation, the White House confirmed Friday that President Donald Trump will be leveling aggressive tariffs this weekend on major U.S. trading partners. Caroline Levitt, I think I said, I don't know if I said that right. So Caroline, the White House press secretary, said Trump will be implementing 25% tax on Mexico, Canada, as well as 10% duty on China in retaliation for the illegal fentanyl that have been sourced and allowed to distribute into our country. I've never seen so many people pro-cartel in my life. Since we've heard this more talk about the cartel being dealt with and stuff by American government or military, I've seen so many people in America thinking that the cartel has any chance in a back and forth. It's like, I don't think y'all understand why America's able to do what they do. I don't think y'all understand the level of technology and equipment they have. They don't have to step one boot in Mexico to get rid of in any of these south countries. They don't have to step a boot in the country to get what they want, especially on the border. Y'all understand? It's just, I'm shocked by how much people don't understand how much how further the gap between America military and everybody else is so big. We're not even talking about people in the military. We're talking about the technology. I don't think people understand how big that is. Virginia says a good science resource for RFK Jr. was stating about Black people research, the International Federation of Pigment Cells. So, you're talking about, oh, thank you for that. All right, you put the tariffs down. Let me play this.
With the president in the Oval Office, and I can confirm that tomorrow, the February 1st deadline that President Trump put into place at a statement several weeks ago continues. The president will be implementing tomorrow a 25% tariffs on Mexico, 25% tariffs on Canada, and a 10% tariff on China.
All right, man, said, thank you. People that like cartel members are super soldiers with a high-tech weapons and also criminal mastermind. Bro, the cartels think they tough because they drive Humvees. they think because they have military vehicles. Like, bro, the Afghans, the Iranians, and all them, with them throwing rocks and stuff, are more strategic than any cartel group you will ever. It's not even close. It would be very bad. It would be very bad. Let's just say it like that.
For the illegal fentanyl that they have sourced and allowed to distribute into our country, which has killed tens of millions of Americans. These are promises made and promises kept by the president.
But then again, if you're the ones that created something, going to war with it wouldn't make sense. And this is Jeffries coming out against it.
We are going to fight it.
I want everything Trump has said, not just this, but everything.
Legislatively, we are going to fight it in the courts.
I think this is about the birthright stuff and all the other stuff.
And we're going to fight it in the streets.
And then I want to show this. Mexico responds to Trump first moves. And the president of Mexico, who's Jewish, by the way, has been talking real slick. There was a video, I think I showed it. Maybe I didn't show it. Well, she was using, what's that place in Philadelphia, the zombie land in Philadelphia. I forgot the name of the city. She was using that as an example as to why Mexico should be wary of drugs, like trying to mock the drug use in America. It's like, how dare you do that when what's going on in Mexico? Are you serious? Like, what is going on in the world where people in Mexico and all these other countries think they can, there's certain things you can't critique. Like, the only thing y'all typically can critique, as a government at least, is the morality of America. I always laugh when America tries to be the moral police of the world. That's just crazy. But when you start talking about other things, it's like, you should pause and stop. Remember, says, I can't stand that clown, Hakeem Jeffries, and the shame he represents my congressional district. Oh, condolences, keeper. She called her a clown. All right, what's this right here? Breaking Mexico. Now, I'm not going to play the video because she's speaking in Spanish. She said the Mexicans there, speaking about America, sustain the economy of the United States and the countryside and services everywhere. So when I saw this quote, it made me wonder, because we've been seeing the back and forth between them not willing to accept immigrants back into the country versus saying that if you come to the country, you're going to get free housing and free, food and all that stuff. And the locals don't like that, to saying they're not going to accept the planes that come in and leave them there in Mexico. They're actually defending. You have the Mexican president is defending Mexicans being in America, sustaining the United States economy. Shouldn't you want them back in Mexico to stay? I've never seen a country want to export citizens, other than like China, but they typically export citizens for education. They end up coming back most of the time. Most of the time. When you export citizens constantly, and that's kind of just what you want, you don't even want them to come back and build nothing. That don't even make sense. People says, I'm enjoying, I enjoy watching Trump make her look stupid. Her reaction to the Gulf of America. Yeah, I'm going to show that right now. I was going to hold that. Let me show that right now. Where is it? Yeah. Mexican president says she sent a letter to Google contesting Gulf of Mexico name change. Yeah, we typed in Google and it said Gulf of America. I don't know if they changed it back yet or not, but she wrote a letter demanding they change the name back. And Mary says the Mexican clown president, i.e. cartel spokesman, definitely is, don't want their citizens back because she know they are useless parasites. Well, we've seen it in all those South American countries. They literally said when those caravans would come to America or planes would take people out, that the crime dropped. They said the crime literally got better. We have less crime in our country because of this. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum sent a letter to Google contesting the tech giant's decision to comply with U.S. President Donald Trump's order of renaming the Gulf of Mexico as Gulf of America. The fact that this is a dispute is just, these are presidents of, like, this is just crazy. But that Greenland thing, by the way, we're going to get to that too. She showed the letters to reporters Thursday saying, in the case of Mexico, where are we completely sovereign? In an area established as 12 miles from the coastline, and it applies to all countries worldwide. If a country wants to change the designation of something in an area, it would only apply to up to 12 miles. It cannot apply to the rest. In this case, the Gulf of Mexico, this is what we explain in detail to Google. And Mary said, yeah, Google is shaking in their boots because the Mexican president wrote them a stern letter. She's trying to explain geography to them. Anonymous says, remittance is why they're okay exporting. Readmittance is why they're okay with exporting citizens. Oh, yeah. Send that money back. All right, you can get past this. Oh, I saw this right here. Somebody said, what's wrong? There's a picture, I gotta say this. There's a picture of a drawing of a man of a character wearing a sombrero and another who's a border patrol agent. And the sombrero guy says, what's wrong? Don't like Mexican people. And the border patrol says, you don't. This reminds me of people saying how proud they are to be in their country, how much they love their culture and all the other stuff, but they don't want to be there, which is something I've heard a lot from. I've heard that even more from people from West Africa. That's definitely even stronger sentiment. I got to show that one. Keith says, no one cares what she has to say. The cartel has more power than she does. Yeah, well, before you know it, she's going to be saying, we got the cartel. Speaking of her, I looked up this political strongman, because I remember when Trump first was in office, they were calling him a strongman, which he was, populist. So politics, strongmen are typically nationalist leaders. They portray themselves as having strong popular support and claim to represent the people against the elites. Strongmen also build a cult of personality around themselves and espouse a disdain for liberalism and democracy. So this reminded me of her. Are they trying to, because she popped up right when Trump get in office. I'm wondering if they're trying to create this situation with them. This is all theater, we know, where she's meant to be a counterbalance to Trump in the public. So this is the party that she's a part of, Morena. The national the national movement, commonly referred to by its syllabic abbreviations, Morena, is a major left-wing populist political party in Mexico. Let me make sure I get that right. Hold on. Because I know this one. Hold on, y'all. Syllabic, that's it. Sorry, syllabic abbreviations are Morena. There's a major left-wing populist political party in Mexico. So she's a populist as well. And then I want to show this right here. Emmanuel says, yeah, that trips me out. You never see Mexicans waving that Mexican flag. You only see that citizens in the USA. Yeah, they only proud when they leave. EU send troops to Trump target Greenland. I want to show this because the Greenland thing, we don't got to go too deep into it. Austrian general says the move would send a strong signal and act as a deterrent to Russia and China. And he's right. China, or Russia, I'm sorry, Russia, China, and America, Greenland. If America gets this is, I think they said, I saw somebody talk about this, they say it's 2,000 miles on each side. If America gets Greenland and they're able to put, you know, what they want to put there, nukes and stuff, this is a great strategic area to control. Matter of fact, it was funny because this was on that TV show, not Designated Survivor. It's a show on Netflix about a woman who was a secretary of something, and they try to mold her to be the vice president. And they're trying to mold her to be vice president. And in one of the episodes, they're battling over an area above the UK for strategic advantage over Russia and China. And this reminds me a lot of that. TV really do just copy life, don't it? It's crazy. Emmanuel, the corrupt elite, thought Kamala was going to win. Shine Bob and fake black woman Kamala was supposed to be presidential besties. Yeah, that's probably it too. Cause that's a big deal to have a woman be in control of the most powerful nation in the world, militarily at least. Even financially, to have all the money, all the power, to have a woman in control of that in these times is something they're really trying to do. Like I said, I think 2028, I think you might see a situation where no man run. They're gonna make you vote for a woman. And even on the Republican side, I think you're gonna get what's his name, the vice president, but they're gonna see a lot more women run on the left. You might not even see a man run on the left. All right, last thing, we already said this. ABC News, Mexican drug cartel not worried about Trump. Reporter's notebook. We spent 2 nights with members of one of the largest cartels in Mexico. So they went and interviewed one of the members to try and show how they're not afraid of Trump and how dangerous they are and how the business they're doing is always going to be done. Yeah, I've just never seen so much pro-cartel coverage in America. But the cartel has always been one of those investigative journalism type topics that people do to get a lot of views. They're so dangerous and mysterious. But yeah, they're just another organization that's going to be taken out if they step across the line. Remember, right now, Republicans are seriously pushing a bill in the House to try and get Trump to run for a 3rd term. Yeah. And like I said, it's probably going to work. It's probably going to work. And we'll see they'll call him a dictator. They'll say a lot of stuff, but we'll see. You know, the fall of an empire, we'll see if it goes along with historically how that goes, which is, it is a dictatorship and constantly bringing in other people from other cultures and to build up your population because your population is shrinking. So we'll see if that goes in line with history says it will do. Anyway, let me see. How long is this? How long are we going? All right, 240. We guess that's good. Virginia says American history just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. It ain't just American history, global history. Constantly repeating itself in they fall the same way they came up. Move this. Emmanuel says, I'd rather Trump than a senile rubber stamp. Biden. Yeah. Biden, his political career will be remembered for him doing that with his family, pardoning his whole family, but he don't care. He old now. It was funny as we talking about 3rd term, Obama already got his with him. So it is what it is. I can't get over the fact that I think he really just don't like Kamala. He really don't like Kamala Harris. Anyway, kept y'all long enough. Thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate the support. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the show and the conversation, the stuff we spoke on. Be sure to like the video, please. Like the stream, should I say. Really appreciate the support. And strong, everyone, versus a weekend until you start over Monday. Thank you, Manuel. Thank you, Manuel. Great stream. Mr. Man, peace. right, thank you, Kiefer. Thank you, too, for coming through. Say, everybody, as always, be safe, protect yourself, keep your peace. And as always, all praise to the Most High. And peace, man.